I have a Planetary system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 226, Nezha at a disadvantage. Ding, the commander of the European server died. Players of the Chinese server and the European server received a system notification at the same time. All the players participating in the battle in the Iron Prison area collectively said, "Great news. The pretentious king of the European server is dead. Ha ha ha. My great commander. How come you died suddenly?" Laughing out loud, the front line is still fighting, and the back row was cut off. Ha ha ha. To be fair, if the commander dies at the beginning, can it trigger the buff of common hatred against the enemy? Ding, the commander of the European server is resurrected. The players once again said. Brickler angrily crushed Beg Williams' head directly. The next second, the human race who suddenly fell to the ground suddenly twitched and stood up and ran behind Nezha. Brickler. Nezha. After seeing the commander of the European server died, Liangting activated the magic skill Buddha's Mercy without saying a word and directly resurrected the dead Beg William. Brickler was confused by this incredible situation in front of him. What the hell? Can you be resurrected after death? Are you testing me on biology? Exclamation mark. Why? You are obviously dead. Why can you be resurrected? Brickler stared at the human in front of him. Who said that you can't be resurrected after death? Why are you still so naive at your age? Have you been sealed for too long and lost your mind? Liangting was speechless after listening to the sleazy answer of BG William. How could I not know that you are so sleazy after knowing you for so long? Nezha was also shocked by the coquettish operation of the human. He also felt that this human was no longer angry, but the facts were in front of him. Human, you have successfully angered me. I will make you all annihilate. Brickler was completely enraged. A black light that shot up into the sky expanded rapidly, and the black dragon-shaped phantom appeared again. Liangting, BG William and the surrounding players suddenly felt familiar and tacitly ran out at the same time. Are you kidding? You want to suppress us again? You are dreaming. I'm a serious person. How can I be suppressed by you? You are so lewd at your age. Nezha is still standing there. He won't be crushed, right? There's already a scene, a big worm crushing a young handsome guy. So embarrassing. The days when I watched movies in the game. Fuck. You guys are so dirty. A careless passage and a slippery driver. The sudden driving made the tense atmosphere relax instantly, and the next second the players on the front line were beaten again by the creatures of the Earth Dragon clan. At this time, the number of players on the field and the Earth Dragon clan was 7,000,000 to 800,000, and the vast majority of the players who died were second level players. The hungry Earth Dragon clan was a little confused when they found that the human race they killed had no corpses left for them to eat, but the lack of brain intelligence made them unable to figure out why, so they could only attack the human race blindly. Nezha looked at the rapidly expanding Brickler's true form, and the flames suddenly surrounded him. He roared, mystical power. 3 heads and 6 arms. His originally thin body became almost the same as the Brickler dragon. The fire spear was also divided into 3 and held separately. The other 3 hands held 2 wind fire wheels and a chaos heaven ribbon respectively. Dare to evolve and here's how. Nezha said lightly to the black lizard dragon in front of him. At the same time, all the great powers who had been born in the world of living beings sensed the breath. Zhu Beiji sensed the familiar and fearful breath and trembled. Too fast. No, I have to find monkey brother quickly. Shawu Jing stood on a river and ate raw fish, and his whole body was aroused by a strong blood. Lu Dongbin in the Chunayang area, who was originally dozing, suddenly opened his eyes. Void. On Zuanwu Island, the sleeping Zuanwu beast suddenly shook. In the Yumeo region under the jurisdiction of the European server, a pair of sharp eyes opened their eyes underground. The region that was always windy and rainy directly blew typhoons and heavy rains, and the frequent thunder was deafening. Brickler in the form of a black dragon opened his mouth wide, and a black sphere condensed in front of his mouth, staring at the huge Nezha in front of him. The players noticed this scene, while loving each other with the earth dragons. Damn. Tailed beast ball? Have you bought the copyright of Planet? Aren't you afraid of being sued for infringement? She was anxious. Is this the legendary cannon that cuts off the descendants? The black energy ball in front of you doesn't need to think about it. It's obvious that it is the ultimate move of the ultimate boss. Once hit, you can definitely go offline and eat. If it were normal, the players would really go up and give it up. After all, today's battle is too tiring. But this cross-server joint battle has double rewards, and the purple on a suit is still waiting at the exchange NPC. You can't just give up like this. There's no way. The dog official gave too much this time. The energy ball attacked Nessa fiercely, and black cracks appeared in the air around the ball. The evil spirit distorted the surrounding environment. Nessa rushed towards the black ball, raised his 6 limbs, and collided with it, and flames erupted violently from his body like a huge fireball. The 2 balls, one black and one red, collided with each other, and the breath of annihilation made all the earth dragon creatures in the iron prison area subconsciously stop and sluggish. Good opportunity. The player picked up the hammer and smashed it on the head of the earth dragon creature, and then was beaten up by the earth dragon creature after it came to its senses. Fuck. I can't beat him. 3rd level brothers, help me. No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619, one book. Give me a chance. Big brother. Don't do it. We were wrong. Fortunately, my output is low, and I can't grab the hatred, otherwise I would be the one who suffered the most. The mentality of the 3rd level players almost collapsed. I told you to delay time, but you just went straight to give up. I worked overtime to clean up your asses one by one, but you asked us to work overtime in return. How many dishes have you drunk like this? Don't you have any idea of your own strength? Can you 2 years and hundreds of months of idiots shut up for a while? Do you really think we are volunteers? I feel a little pain in my liver. In the sky, Nessa held the huge black energy ball with 6 hands to resist with all his strength. Black Dragon Brickler took the opportunity to pounce on Nessa. The latter's weapon spontaneously attacked Black Dragon Brickler to restrict its movements. Nessa shouted and threw the black energy ball to the horizon with all his strength. The rapidly ejected energy ball directly raised a dazzling white ball in an unknown area, which exploded like a hydrogen bomb explosion. The players suddenly felt as if they were illuminated by a strong light. I don't know which region is so unlucky. If this hits you, your descendants will probably be wiped out. Anyway, it's not the jurisdiction of our Chinese server. It's not the jurisdiction of our European server either. That's fine. After Nessa bounced the black energy ball away, he rushed towards the Black Dragon Brickler, grabbed 6 weapons on the way, and started fighting head on. The 3 heads kept talking. Her body is covered with scales. It's not easy to break through the defense, hit her abdomen or eyes. We are only in the late stage of Shengming. We can't beat her. How about we run away? Run away. If you keep arguing, I'll twist your head off. You two stop arguing. Nessa's 3 heads quarreled with the Black Dragon Brickler while fighting. The 2 fought hard. The Black Dragon Brickler, who had strong defense, found the right opportunity to slap Nessa with a claw, and blood gushed out of Nessa's chest, and 3 hideous blood marks appeared from his chest to his abdomen. Inertia caused Nessa to fall heavily to the ground, and this situation made the players feel uneasy. It seems we can't beat them. That's normal. Nessa is in the late Shengming realm, and that woman's realm has fallen to the peak Shengming. They are not on the same level. What should we do if they can't beat us? Believe me, the damn officials will definitely make a reversal. In the final analysis, they just want to disgust us players. Stay calm. Nessa spit out blood, got up with difficulty and looked up. A huge black claw was smashing towards him from the sky. Nessa flashed to the side of the Black Dragon Brickler to avoid the attack, and was hit again by another black claw of Brickler the next second. Chapter 227, Unknown Dragon Roar. Nessa, who was beaten back to his original form, lay on the ground with serious injuries, looking at the huge monster in the sky with a gloomy face. Black Dragon Brickler made a heavy voice. You could have escaped, but for this group of human race, you finally died here. The creatures of GSI are still as ridiculous as ever. Nessa got up with difficulty and showed a tough expression. Escape. I won't escape. Even if I die, I will die with you. Black Dragon Brickler spread its wings in the air, and countless black sharp energies appeared in the air. It roared. Black feather. Countless black sword thorns hit Nessa all over the sky. When Nessa was about to burn his essence and fight to the death, the attacking black feather suddenly dissipated silently. Nessa and Black Dragon Brickler were both stunned. The next second, a loud dragon roar resounded throughout the iron prison area. The players were confused. Nessa was stunned, and Black Dragon Brickler was terrified. Black Dragon Brickler directly changed back to a female humanoid image, waved her hand to summon a black space crack, and drilled into it without saying a word. This move made the players present unable to react in time. What's going on? Just leaving like that? Your girls are still here. You're so decisive to abandon your wife and children. Why are you leaving? So the remaining group of Earth Dragons are ours? Haha, you say it, as if you can beat them. Nessa was not surprised by Brickler's sudden departure, but took it for granted. He looked at the direction of the Umeo area thoughtfully, and the next second he rushed directly to the direction of the firing area, and disappeared into the sky. At this time, only the confused players and hundreds of thousands of abandoned Earth Dragons were left in the Iron Prison area. With Brickler's departure, the evil spirit in the Iron Prison area dissipated immediately. Liangting and BG William looked at each other and smiled at the same time. At this time, the gods of various races in the areas under the jurisdiction of the Chinese server and the European server were requested for support by the players at the same time. It was called a request, but the attitude was questionable. Not long after, the gods of the human race's allied races arrived in the Iron Prison area one after another. Fukai, what's going on? I'm still with my sister Ziyan, and you guys suddenly, what the hell? Xinyang, hey, can't you just let me be in peace for a while, huh? Yuda hey, the environment here is so dry, Yuanfang, roar. Pengzin, you humans are too busy, aren't you? Ziyan, actually, Big Brother Fukai doesn't have to spend so much time on me, what's going on? Long Kui, where's Big Brother Jian crossing? Yijan? Huh? Gee, I said. Don't bother me easily, if there's nothing important. I'm not from your human race. GHUO, I'm just going home to visit my relatives for a while. You humans are making a big deal about this. Kinna, am I dazzled? Are these all gods? Yan crossing, I felt a strong breath of fire here just now. Fei Yun, so those noises just now were made by these enemies? No wonder. Zhu Yun, who the hell is this? Who just ran desperately towards a Han Yuan clan's territory? Nanpo, is this where the evil spirit came from? Wu Yan, I didn't expect there would be such a large number of enemies near our territory. After arriving at the Iron Prison area, the gods of various races were extremely surprised to see hundreds of thousands of unknown gods. Are the human race fighting these guys? Are you guys courting death at a new level? How many of you are so drunk? Don't you have any idea of your own strength? Exclamation mark. So you asked us to come here because you were planning to? Question mark. Liangting came to the gods of the Chinese server and smiled. Everyone, the human race is now fighting with the creatures of the void. I hope you can help the human race. Of course, this is a request, not a coercion. Seeing Liangting's malicious smile, except for Ji and Long Kui, the other gods all felt like they were screwing. Just now, hundreds of you human players were sharpening your knives around us, and now you tell me it's not coercion? Exclamation mark. BG William looked at Liangting with envy. There were so many allied gods, and they hadn't even seen the Tenyanjin gods before. The foundation of the Chinese server was too strong. He turned to Nanpo and Wu Yan and said, "Two clan leaders, we have solved the source of the evil spirit, but there are still millions of void gods and creatures left. We humans have done our best to strangle a small number of them, but we have also suffered heavy casualties. I hope you two can help. No mistakes in one sentence, one post, one content, 1-6, one book, one bar." Nanpo and Wu Yan looked at each other. There was such a huge enemy living next door to their homes. It was reasonable for them to help. Looking at more than 10 powerful creatures not far away, one of them still exuded a terrifying aura, and asked BG William about the situation. The latter reluctantly answered, "That is an ally of another branch of the human race. Now it is also our ally. The purpose is the same as ours, which is to strangle these void creatures." Liang Ting and BG Williams said at the same time, the cause of the incident, including the various things that the world of creatures will face, I will tell you in detail afterwards. Now, please lend a helping hand to the human race. Don't worry, although the number of enemies is large, their intelligence is extremely low, and the human race will also fight on the front line for you. They all stared at the group of enemies, gritted their teeth and muttered, "Void." After that, they disappeared silently and appeared in the center of the Earth Dragon clan, emitting a dark green aura, and roared, "Wither." Wherever the breath went, the creatures of the Earth Dragon clan seemed to be restricted and moved very slowly, and the skin on their faces dried up at a speed visible to the naked eye. They all gritted their teeth. Void world, very good, suck you all dry. I will be able to recover to my prime. The players and gods present all looked at the suddenly furious G in astonishment. The old man is so brave. That's not like his style. From the looks of him, he seems to know the origin of these voids, so there must be a story. Comrades, it's time to take revenge. You bastards. Charge. If you're slow, you won't be able to eat the shit until it's hot. Eat it yourself. The gods in the Chinese server saw that the strongest fighters on their side had taken action, and if they didn't take action, they would appear to be offending others. It seemed that old man G had a grudge with this group of enemies, so they helped him hold the field. The players in the Chinese server saw that their brothers and sisters of the gods on their side had taken action, and they followed them into the enemy tide one after another. The second level players were responsible for exchanging their lives for injuries, and after the Earth Dragon creatures were injured, the third level players and the gods would finish off the enemies. Nanpo and Wu Yan saw that this group of human branches was so crazy and desperate, and secretly glanced at the familiar human race around them. No wonder you can't beat others. In terms of recklessness, you are really not as brave as them. Do all human branches want to die like this? European server players looked at the Chinese server with envy. These were all white soul points, experience, and honor points. It would be great if their European servers had such powerful allies. The elves and wizards were really rubbish. After the European servers looked down on each other with the elves and wizards, they all rushed to the battlefield. Chapter 228, Involution between US and Russian servers. The battle lasted for 2 days and 1 night, and the players on each server were really happy. They kept going online and offline, and gained a huge amount of soul points, experience, and honor points. After this battle, the Chinese server and the European server will definitely leave other servers far behind. Bai Bing and Henny Bai don't want to see this situation. The invasion of the Void and the Abyss will soon face the Russian server and the American server. All servers are in the same world. It is the kingly way to develop morality, intelligence, physical fitness, aesthetics, and labor at the same time. We must focus on servers other than the Chinese server and the European server. At this time, in the chaotic area, where the American server is located, a team of 6 is chasing a full wolf creature at full speed. Sister, I really can't run anymore. The dog in front is too fast. A US server player said. Forget it, it's not worth the time cost for a team to chase a full wolf creature. The woman called Sister stopped, and the teammates around her also stopped. Damn official, the US server is still in the development stage, and suddenly there is a 2.0 version, and they are attacking our US server directly. What a sick person. The woman said. Big sister, I think you should find a time to organize a campaign to completely wipe out the man-wolf tribe and the blood tribe. Our US server is weak to begin with. If we don't hurry up, we will really be shut down later. The teammate said. The woman's name is Ken and Julie, and her game ID is difficult to satisfy. She has now reached the first level guardian level in her profession, and is also the commander of the US server. The original commander of the US server was not Ken and Julie but another man. Once, the main city of the US server, Griffin Valley, suddenly welcomed a full moon, and the man-wolf tribe, whose combat power had skyrocketed, suddenly lost their minds and attacked. The previous commander was so poor in command that he was beaten through half of the players before he could barely resist. After that, Ken and Julie took over the title of commander without saying a word and fought several beautiful battles. After that, the players of the US server also acquiesced to Ken and Julie as the commander of the US server. Under Ken and Julie's command of several battles, the level of players in the US server has been upgraded at a geometric rate. Now more than half of the players in the entire US server have successfully transferred to the first level. You should know that the number of players in the entire US server has reached 10 million. Ken and Julie nodded. You are right. Our US server is indeed developing too slowly, but there is no way. The map set by the dog official is too disgusting. In addition to our player camp, there are also the Wolf Clan and the Blood Clan in the chaotic area. If we take out one of the two races alone, we can still fight, but the other one will definitely take advantage of the opportunity. Once we make a mistake and break through the main city, our US server will be shut down. Or, we wait for the Wolf Clan and the Blood Clan to fight, and then sit back and enjoy the benefits. Anyway, the two races are mortal enemies. The teammate suggested. Ken and Julie shook her head. This is too slow. If we keep waiting, even the Russian server will be able to surpass us without waiting for the Void or Abyss attacks. Our goal is to overtake the European server and catch up with the Chinese server. Then what should we do? This won't work, and that won't work either. Ken and Julie said calmly. It's not that we don't have any solutions. More than half of our American server players have reached the first level. We can't fight to the death, but we can fight confrontations. As long as our levels go up, we can also fight on two fronts at the same time. Starting tomorrow, I will launch a campaign between the two races. I won't seek conquest, but I will also let the players reach the first level. After returning, Ken and Julie went offline and posted a campaign content on the forum, which received support from many players, but many of the original commander's supporters also tried to sabotage it. TSK, TSK, TSK. The commanders nowadays are really arrogant. It's okay to have a disgusting name, but they are also so arrogant. What's the matter? Can't you be satisfied with just one man wolf tribe? You need both races to serve you? Don't slap me in the face when the time comes. Those who drown are those who can swim, and those who are beaten to death are those who are stubborn. Do you mean to fight a protracted war in Eagle Valley? Can you last that long? Would you rather stay here to wait for the eagle? Ken and Julie's name has always been criticized by trolls. She has become accustomed to these disgusting things. When she first came up with this name, she just typed it in casually and didn't plan to become a commander. Now it has become a household name among the players of Planet US server, and this name also plays a big role. The next morning, out of the 5 million online players willing to participate in the campaign, 2 million were willing to participate, and half of them successfully achieved the first turn and half did not. Ken and Julie mixed the 2 million players together and launched an attack on the Blood Tribe and the Man-Wolf Tribe at the same time. Half an hour later, the two armies of the US server players collided with the two races respectively. Ken and Julie was in the back, checking the players' feedback while sending orders. The Man-Wolf Tribe will become stronger at night. Now it's daytime. You must fight hard for me. Try to wipe out as many enemies as possible during the day. Don't let them retreat. Stick to them. The Blood Tribe has the characteristic of blood sucking. The front row is responsible for holding on and holding the hatred. The back row outputs and hits hard. At the beginning of the battle between the US server and the Blood Tribe and the Man-Wolf Tribe, the commanders of other servers received the news. In order to better understand the strength and actions of other servers, the commanders of each server will place undercovers in other servers. Southeast Asia server commander Chunshu Nguyen Huang. The US server has also started to exert its strength, but it is still not enough. No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, one book, one bar, 1619, one book, one bar. The Korean server commander Bubble Dragon, Ma Yingdao. What's the use? When facing the Void and the Abyss, we Korean server will definitely be the only main force. The Japanese server commander Fujishin Screwworker, Ichiro Nimoto. Not all members have reached the first level yet, and we are planning to fight two races at the same time. It's really overestimating our abilities. The European server commander Vegeta, Vegetarian William, who drives a tank, fighting two races at the same time, is exactly the same as what we did in the European server. The Chinese server commander Ting Jie said it was right. Liang Ting. Oh, the commander is actually a woman. Then I have to support her, no matter how high. The Russian server commander Big Bird Vodka, Yelisa Groff. I didn't expect that the American server commander is a woman like me. What a pity. If we were not opponents, we should be friends. The Russian server is now also making every effort to develop the strength of the server players like the American server. However, due to Bai Bing's previous kind care, the soul-grabbing area where the Russian server's main city Glorious Palace is located has almost no hostile races except lazy creatures, making it difficult to raise the player's level. Fuck, why do other servers have so many resources? Our server is so poor. Yelisa Grove yelled in his heart, seeing that the US server suddenly worked overtime and was so involuntarily. The players on the Russian server were also a little anxious. They couldn't fall behind and become the last one in any case. Yelisa Grove had no choice but to let the players cross the Soul Tide region to find a new region to conquer, no matter how far the distance was. Ding, a new map Red Sun region was discovered. The voice sounded from the ears of a Russian server player. He was stunned for a moment, then overjoyed, and immediately fed the information back to Yelisa Grove. Suddenly, all the players on the Russian server knew that a new region had been found on the right side of the Soul Tide region. Chapter 229, The Unlucky Chiang region. Suna was the first Russian server player to discover the Chiang region. Her game ID was Sausages Must Be Whole to Taste Good. She was a diehard fan of the game Planet. She was online for more than 18 hours every day and was commonly known as the first person to die suddenly in the Russian server. This ID could always be seen in the chat channel in the game or on the Russian server forum. She was considered a celebrity in the Russian server. She participated in every event, no matter how big or small. In addition, her gender and vulgar name won the hearts of a large number of fighting men. The first reaction of Suna when she stepped into the Chiang region was that it was extremely hot. This region was really hot against the sky, but if you think about it, since it is called the Chiang region, it is normal to have a hot spot. After exploring for half an hour, Suna, who was always ready to fight, found that she did not encounter any living creatures. Strange, could it be that all the creatures in this region were killed by the heat? Isn't this even poorer than the Soul Tide region? Fuck. Dog official. As the first person to set foot in the Chiang region, Suna started live streaming from the beginning, thinking that she could encounter something new and get soul value rewards. As a result, the imagination was sexy, but the reality was very skinny. That's it? There's nothing here. Should we go explore? What a rubbish area. There's nothing here except the heat. It's really deserted. Big sausage, come back. There's no need to explore any further. Fuck, our area is poor, but the area next door is also so barren. Are they really targeting our server? No. I'm definitely going to complain to the damn officials. Suna sighed. Is there really nothing in this area? I'm so unwilling. Suddenly a voice came. What race are you? You're not a native creature of the Chiang area. Where did you come from? The voice came from behind Suna. Suna hurriedly turned back to be alert and then found a creature that surprised him. Fengji, the 7-star lord of the Chiang clan, the early stage of the god. Suna was shocked to see that the young creature with green hair, thin body and green face in front of him had reached the early stage of the god. As a master of sudden death in Planet, Suna must be familiar with the complete list of living realms summarized by the Chinese server. The realm of gods is even more powerful than the Holy Spirit. I didn't expect to encounter such a terrifying existence in this remote place. I'm not a living creature in this area. I came in by mistake. I'm from the human race. Suna hurriedly argued. Fengji didn't take the little guy in front of him seriously, muttering and thinking, human race. I seem to have heard of it. I remember. Did you fight with the 5th seat of the corpse race before? Suna suddenly remembered the battle between the Chinese server and the corpse race in their server before, and didn't know how to answer for a while. It seems that this is the case. Big brother, do you have a grudge against the corpse race? Suna asked cautiously. If this guy is on good terms with the corpse race, then the Russian server doesn't need to come in. One person will die, and 2 people will die of family. Fengji smiled after hearing the reply. We Chiang and the corpse tribe are mortal enemies. I didn't expect that you humans would appear here. The place where Ji appeared is very far away from here. Suna breathed a sigh of relief and was at peace. The Russian players in the live broadcast room were furious when they saw the big guy suddenly appear. Fuck. What did I see? This young man is a god. Chiang 7 Star Lords? So there are 6 such awesome guys in the Chiang area? What are you still talking about? Organize a diplomatic team to negotiate immediately. If you form an alliance with the Chiang tribe, the Chinese servers and European servers will all kneel down and lick my toes. Do you need me to tell you? Commander Big Bird has already gone there in person. Feng-Ji smiled and said, I didn't expect that you humans have the strength to fight G head on. Suna responded awkwardly, it's not bad. It's all thanks to the support of our peers. Feng-Ji was about to speak, but Suna interrupted him hurriedly. Don't say any more. It's not us who are fighting G. I really don't want to praise the Chinese server. By the way, Boss Feng-Ji, why is your Chiang region so hot? Feng-Ji stared. How do you know my name is Feng-Ji? I have never told you my star sign. Suna was speechless for a moment, with a bitter face and reluctantly answered, of course I knew it from G. He told us the reputation of your Chiang 7 Star Lords. He said that the one with green hair and handsome looks is called Feng-Ji. Feng-Ji continued to stare. G would not tell you these. Our two tribes have been feuding for countless years, and we can't wait to eat each other's flesh and blood. You are lying. Suna was sweating profusely and said hurriedly, actually, by the way, it was actually because G scolded your Chiang tribe so badly, so we got this information from what he said. Really, Boss Feng-Ji, believe me. Feng-Ji frowned and finally did not ask any more questions. Suna was afraid that Feng-Ji would doubt again and hurriedly asked back, Boss Feng-Ji, you haven't told me why your Chiang region is so hot. The wind was strong and evil spirits were emerging. The wind around became extremely violent. I also want to know why our Chiang region is so hot. A few days ago, a black ball burning with flames fell in our Chiang region. The violent energy overturned our region. Our 7 Star Lords joined forces to form a region. I'm afraid the entire Chiang region will be destroyed. Now there are only 1 in 10 living creatures left in our region. No mistakes. 1 post, 1 content, 1 6, 1 9, 1 book, 1 bar. Suna suddenly didn't know what to say. You are too unlucky. The black energy ball burning with flames is probably the legacy of the fight between the Void and Ether in the European server. It turns out that the unlucky region is here. Although Bai Bing cut off the screen of the live broadcast room at that time, it couldn't prevent the voices and emotions of the undercovers on each server. There have been many versions of what happened in the Iron Prison region. Suna was silent for a long time before asking, Brother Feng-Ji, what are you going to do? Feng-Ji sneered, anyone who severely damages our Chiang region will be punished by death, no matter who it is. We, the 7 Star Lords, will fight them to the death no matter what. Haha, you gods think you are great, but the 2 guys fighting are at the latent peak stages of Shengming, so you should have some sense. Feng-Ji saw the constipated expression of the human race and said coldly, I know what you are thinking. I know that creatures that can produce such energy are extremely terrifying, but the Chiang region will not give up. Suna found the right opportunity. Brother Feng-Ji, why don't you form an alliance with our human race in the Chiang region? We humans will help you find the reason. Are you kidding? I will never tell you the reason even if I die. You will just be chopped up when you go there. You may resent us when you come back, and you will also offend the Chinese and European servers. Only the Korean server will do such thankless things. Feng-Ji was puzzled. Form an alliance with your human race? Suna nodded repeatedly. Yes, think about it. The creatures in your Chiang area have been severely damaged, and forming an alliance with our human race can just solve the urgent problem. Moreover, we are in opposition to the corpse race, not to mention that we can help you find the reason, killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Feng-Ji, urgent problem. Well said. It is very appropriate to describe it. It is not impossible to form an alliance with your human race, but I need to discuss it with other star gods. Haha, I have to discuss it with other star gods. What a mama's boy, no opinion at all, and a god. Although Suna mocked in her heart, she still showed an extremely affirmative look on her face. You are right. Then brother Feng-Ji, when will you discuss it? Feng-Ji, wait a minute. After speaking, a space-time crack appeared behind him, and he turned around and stepped into it and disappeared. Sooner. You should take me with you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230, Suzaku. During the time when Suna was bored, players from the Russian server arrived at the Chiang area one after another. The Russian server commander Big Bird Vodka, Yelissa Grove, looked at the vegetation that was burned out everywhere. It can be imagined that, if it weren't for the energy attack left over from the Iron Prison area, this should be a region with extremely rich resources. Let's wait here for a while. It's very rude to rashly enter other people's territory, Big Bird Vodka said calmly. The players around nodded. It was not easy to encounter a region with so many big guys. They must leave a good impression. Today is the day to catch up with the Chinese server and the European server. About half an hour later, two cracks suddenly appeared in front of the bored Russian server players. Two figures walked out of the cracks. One of them was Fengji, who had just left, and the other was a sturdy man with a calm face and no expression. It's Sachikata, Chiang 7-star lord, mid-stage god. Fengji looked at the sudden arrival of so many human beings with normal faces. He had sensed the moment the human beings set foot in the Chiang area, but he found that they stayed where they were and did not wander around, so he did not take it seriously and was quite polite. Sixth brother, this is a human race I mentioned to you. What do you think of their proposal? Fengji asked Hijikata. Hijikata looked at the hundreds of human beings in front of him. His face was indifferent, and he said in a steady voice, humans, I'm very surprised. Based on the realm shown by the number of people present, I don't believe you have the strength to encircle and suppress G. Suna and all the Russian players present looked at the commander Big Bird Vodka. Yelisu stepped forward and said, Senior, we are just one of the branches of the human race. The human race that encircled and suppressed the corpse creatures is not our branch. Hijikata, one of the branches. Yelisu nodded. To be precise, the human race currently has 7 branches, located in 7 different regions. Hijikata, then your so-called alliance, does it represent the entire human race or just your branch? Yelisu was asked by this question, and didn't know how to answer for a while. Hijikata knew the answer when he saw the expression of the human race in front of him. Chiang can agree to your goodwill, but not through an alliance, but your human race joining Chiang. Hijikata said slowly. Yelisu looked at Hijikata in confusion, and Fengji said, the current Chiang is riddled with holes, after being attacked by fire energy. If the human race is brought under the Chiang, we Chiang can protect you humans. At the same time, we will not restrict the development and actions of the human race. You just need to obey our Chiang's orders. The surrounding Russian server players and the audience in the live broadcast room were angry. Yo, you are so arrogant. You Chiang alone plan to swallow up our Russian server? What kind of garbage region are you? I won't serve you. This is the first time I've encountered a creature who gets something for nothing in the game. You are very sick. Yelisu suddenly laughed. He could see that the boss of Chiang was not sincere, so there was no need for the Russian server to be polite. I'm sorry, we humans refuse. Tu Fang's expression was still as indifferent as before. Fengji said, Chiang has spoken, and I don't intend to let you refuse. If you agree, you can live, and if you refuse, you will die. Think it over. Looking at the ugly faces of Tu Fang and Fengji, Yelisu sent a message on the world channel, and then asked back, you 7-star kings of Chiang can't even withstand an energy ball attack. How can you say that you can protect our human race? Tu Fang's indifferent face showed a trace of ferocity. You are looking for death. Yelisu smiled and said, just think of me as looking for death. I can tell you that the 7 branches of the human race will not be afraid of you Chiang, especially our Korean server. Remember, we are the Korean server branch of the human race. Goodbye. To trash. After that, hundreds of Russian server figures disappeared in the Chiang area at the same time in the stunned eyes of Fengji and Tu Fang. This is a spatial fluctuation. How is it possible? The strength of these creatures of the human race cannot have spatial ability. Fengji said in astonishment. Hijikata narrowed his eyes. The human Korean server branch. Very good. I will remember you. Although Yelisu was very tough before leaving, he still had some sense. He knew the weight of the Russian server very well. Anyway, Chiang didn't know the situation of the players, so he had no psychological burden to find another server to attract hatred. He couldn't afford to offend the Chinese server and the European server. The American server had to defeat them openly. The Japanese server was on the sea, and it probably didn't make much sense to pit it. The Southeast Asian server and the Russian server didn't have much hostility. The only thing left was the arrogant and tough Korean server. Since you said you were the best in the universe, the Chiang tribe relied on you. Ha ha ha, I'm laughing to death. We Korean servers are really not afraid of Chiang. Korean players can get along. If there is something wrong, just throw the pot on them. You can scold me. If you want to fight, please beat my brother. Only superficial brothers. Ha ha ha. No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619, one book, one forum. I'm laughing like a goose. In the center of the Chiang region, on a towering tower that reaches into the clouds, a man covered in scars is standing on the top of the tower in a daze. Thunder rumbles in the sky and bursts of birdsong can be heard from the tower below. A woman in a blue cloak was floating beside the man, and she said in a clear voice, "Brother, you are seriously injured." The man stared at the west and muttered, "Human race, what a familiar name, where have I heard it before?" The woman repeated, "Brother." The man looked at the woman and smiled, "Fourth sister, I'm fine." The woman frowned, "How can I be okay? You have been fighting against the energy attack alone. You have already hurt your foundation. Let us guard the Fengming Tower." The man shook his head, "You can't. You need to continue to hunt down the various seats of the Corpse clan and find a new area. Chiang can no longer stay now." The woman was hesitant to speak, and the man smiled and said, "What's more, you can't suppress this guy in the Fengming Tower. Don't worry about me. I, Lei Ming, will not die for a while." Finally, the woman turned around and disappeared. Lei Ming sat on the top of the tower, sighed, and muttered to the tower, "Suzaku, after suppressing you for so many years, you finally found a flaw. Tell me, did that flame energy attack to save you? Chiang should be grateful to you for all these years. If you hadn't lived in our Chiang, we would still be slaves of the Corpse clan. You are the benefactor of our 7 brothers and sisters." A rapid cry came from the Fengming Tower, and a violent breath came from the tower. Then came bursts of thunder in the sky, which forcibly overwhelmed the Fengming. Li Ming continued to mutter, "I know you are angry. It was indeed because we were greedy for your origin that we imprisoned you. But you may not know that your endless origin breath has turned our originally barren desert in Chiang into an oasis. It is all thanks to you that Chiang is alive, and our 7 brothers and sisters can survive. Therefore, no matter what, we can't let you escape. Even if we find a new area, we will move you there. We Chiang will thank you from generation to generation. If you really don't want to, I promise you that we will kill you and then leave." Chapter 231, Sea of Corpses. To the north of Chiang is the Sea of Corpses, the original home of the Corpse clan. After the rise of the 7 Star Lords of Chiang, the 9 seat gods of the Corpse clan found themselves defeated and fled in different places to avoid Chiang's pursuit. At this time, except for the survival of countless corpses, the Sea of Corpses had no resources. The Sea of Corpses is located in the northeast of the Russian server and the northwest of the Korean server, which means that the Russian server and the Korean server are separated by a region. After giving up the Chiang region, the Russian server immediately embarked on a journey to explore the Sea of Corpses. At the same time, the Korean server also discovered this disgusting land at the same time. At this time, deep in the Sea of Corpses, without the leadership of the corpse gods, the skeleton race without wisdom has evolved into zombies, and they continue to wander around the Sea of Corpses and become wild creatures. The overwhelming skeleton creatures became extremely irritable when they discovered the human creatures that suddenly appeared on the east and west sides. The first thought of Bubble Dragon, Ma Yingdao, the commander of the Korean server, after discovering this area was disgust. This area has no value except for killing creatures to gain soul points and experience. However, for the commander of the Russian server, Big Bird Vodka, Yelosujelov, the Sea of Corpses is simply a paradise. There are countless times more creatures than the soul tie area for Russian players to level up. A large number of skeleton creatures means a large number of soul points. The rise of the Russian server is just around the corner. I have a suggestion. Why don't we move the main city here? If we eat all the skeleton creatures here, we can live in a foreign building and raise dogs in no time. This seems to be the tribe of the gods and creatures in the Chinese server. The mortal enemy on the Chiang side is here. If we deal with this place, will it be equivalent to helping the Chiang side? Those who achieve great things don't marry ladies. Don't worry about it. After dealing with this place, deal with Chiang and kill them all. Just treat it as helping them fulfill their last wishes before they died. In order to improve the strength of the Russian server, as soon as possible, Yelosu directly posted the coordinates and information of the Sea of Corpses region on the official website forum, and the Korean server immediately knew that not only the Korean server was involved in the Sea of Corpses region, but the Russian server was also here. This means that the main city of the Russian server is extremely close to the main city of the Korean server. All the Korean server players immediately showed a wicked smile. Very good. The journey to the first server in the universe will start from your Russian server. Both servers began to gather a large number of players to the Sea of Corpses for different reasons. When Yelosu asked the Russian server players to freely form teams and upgrade themselves, they suddenly received news from undercover players lurking in the Korean server. After seeing the content of the message, Yelosu was stunned for a moment, and then his face became extremely gloomy. He spread the news as soon as possible. This kind of thing can't be concealed. It's really disgusting. The damn official is going to kill our Russian server. Just after being disgusted by Chiang, now there is a disgusting server like the Korean server. Although the atmosphere of Korean server players is not very good, it is fair to say that the strength is indeed better than that of the Russian server. What should we do? The Russian players who received the news were immediately furious. Fuck. What the hell? Behind the Sea of Corpses is the endless territory of the Korean server? What are you afraid of? Would our fighting nation be afraid of those sisters? We can't beat them. The Korean server already has a large number of second level players, and all of our Russian players haven't even reached the first level yet. Okay. No matter what, the outcome can't be changed. Since there will be a battle after all, let's go head on. The fighting nation players of the Russian server are not afraid of any challenge. Yelosu immediately sent an order on the world channel, asking all Russian players to gather in the Sea of Corpses to level up as quickly as possible. It is better to fight for time difference and grab more experience resources than to die slowly. At the same time, a corpse god was sleeping deep in the Sea of Corpses. A large number of creatures suddenly gathered in the southeast and southwest to wake the god up from his slumber. The god's body was dry and lifeless, with sparse hair and blue spots all over his body. Only his belly was slightly bulging. It's not Chiang creatures. It's strange that such a large number of creatures have set foot in the corpse sea area. Well, I haven't eaten for a long time. This group of creatures is enough to fill me up. The corpse clan god got up with difficulty and limped towards the southeast. The creatures in the southeast position seemed stronger among the two directions, so they must have a higher priority for eating. Let's eat them first. In the real world, since Bai confessed some of the facts to Bai Bing began to work non-stop. Not only did he have to supervise the development between the servers, but he also had to pay attention to the possible kaiju creatures in the various regions. These were all the players' masters who had turn 4. When the Russian server set foot in the Chiang area, Bai Bing immediately realized that the mythical beast Suzaku was trapped in the center of the Chiang area, but because there were only two weaker servers, the Russian server and the Korean server, there was no way to directly contain the Chiang 7 Star Lords to help Suzaku lift the seal. Among the 7 servers, only the Chinese server could fight Chiang head on. Going up to the other servers would be a waste. It was so annoying. Bai said at this time, it's not that there is no way. Yang and the Corpse Clan are mortal enemies. If we can get the help of the 9 god seats of the Corpse Clan, we can fight Yang head on. Bai Bing thought about it and felt that it was feasible. In this case, the only obstacle was how to get the goodwill of the Corpse Clan and persuade the Corpse Clan to attack Kai Yang together. At this time, in the Huaxia service, Ji was closing his eyes and nourishing in a high place. After fighting with hundreds of thousands of Void Earth Dragon creatures and eating a lot of corpse ki, his realm has gradually recovered and stabilized in the early stage of the God realm. Suddenly, a glowing butterfly slowly flew over, and Ji opened his eyes immediately, and his whole body stiffened and motionless. This light butterfly made him feel unprecedented fear, which was even worse than when he faced Lu Danbin. The light butterfly slowly landed on Ji's shoulder, and a burst of consciousness was transmitted to Ji's mind. No mistake, one song, one post, one content, 1-in-1-6, one book, one bar, one look. Ji was shocked to listen to the story and request told by the light butterfly, and the sense of fear gradually relaxed. I can try, but facing Chiang, our Corpse Clan is not sure that we can fight against him. After all, there are creatures at the peak of gods in Chiang, and the strongest of our Corpse Clan is only at the late stage of gods. If it is true as the senior said, that Chiang is suffering a heavy blow now, the Corpse Clan is willing to cooperate. I dare not ask for any favors from the senior. This is an honor for me and the Corpse Clan. Don't worry, senior. I will consolidate my realm and set off immediately within 2 days. The players of the Chinese server in Jiushan Zuandu found that Ji was talking to himself with a stiff body on the high ground, and they all looked around curiously. You know, this older mortal has been dozing with his eyes closed in Jiushan Zuandu. Today, his eyes suddenly opened as big as copper bells. Did he have a nightmare? Why isn't this old eagle sleeping today? Is he thinking about love? Maybe he dreamed of something disgusting? Did he dream of being chased by a ghost? Chased by a ghost? They are from the Corpse Clan. Have you ever seen a corpse afraid of ghosts? Which big eagle go up and ask. Hearing the comments of the nearby humans about themselves, they all looked deeply at this race with a powerful background. They really couldn't understand why their descendants would be so disgusting with such powerful creatures as the background. It turned out that the education method of the human race needs to be strengthened. Chapter 232. All the people who appeared in the Sea of Corpses. At this time, the Russian server was making every effort to advance across the southwest border of the Sea of Corpses. Although the Russian server had a hard time fighting against the skeleton creatures in the Sea of Corpses, the feedback of soul value and experience was very considerable. In just half a day, a large number of Russian server players successfully upgraded to level 20 and returned. Yelasu was very surprised by the growth of the Russian server, but he was also curious why there was no movement in the Korean server. He had not encountered a Korean server player for such a long time. Is the Sea of Corpses so vast? Just when he wanted to contact the Russian server undercover player in the Korean server, the other party sent a message first, and the content shocked Yelasu. The Korean server was wiped out. Millions of Korean server players were slaughtered by a Corpse Clan god level creature in just 1 hour. At this time, the god was in a daze at the place where the Korean server died. The other party sent the information of the god creature. Dao, the third seat of the Corpse Clan god, the early stage of god. Damn. There is actually a big boss of the Corpse Clan in the Sea of Corpses? Didn't they say they were being hunted by the 7 Star Lords of the Red Sun? The Red Sun region is below the Sea of Corpses, and you still dare to stay at home? Is it true that the most dangerous place is the safest place? Hanfu was also confused at this time, and he crushed the skeleton creatures all the way in the direction of the Russian server. Suddenly, he found that the skeleton creatures in front of him suddenly stopped, and they didn't lose their minds, and rushed over like before. A skinny creature limped out from the group of skeletons. At first, Hanfu thought it was a small boss of skeleton creatures, and planned to continue crushing it without thinking anything. As a result, he found that a lot of fog exploded in the center of the players on his side. The health of the Hanfu players who came into contact with the fog dropped rapidly, and a large number of them died in less than 5 seconds. He immediately used the identification skill on the malnourished creature, fighting the third seat of the Corpse Clan gods, the early stage of gods. After discovering that the opponent was actually the boss of the Corpse Clan, Hanfu Commander Bubble Dragon, Ma Yingdao, immediately ordered the players to retreat. What the hell is the realm of gods? What the hell is there to fight? The strongest combat force of our server is only the second level. Facing such a boss, the Chinese server is estimated to run away. However, just when the Korean server was about to retreat, countless skeleton creatures surrounded them unknowingly. Dao Wooly waved his hand, and skeleton creatures from all directions surged up. The Korean server didn't even have time to activate the return scroll. Fuck. Is the world outside so exciting? It's always a god. The world is so big, I just want to go home and sleep. Why is there such a big guy near our endless territory? Is the official designer's head full of shit? We don't even have to wait for the invasion of the void and the abyss. This guy is blocking the door of the endless territory. We don't have to go out. Daoxuruo stood there and looked at the food attacked by countless skeletons. He felt more and more that something was wrong. Why didn't the dead creatures have any corpse key feedback? On the contrary, the corpse key in the skeletons killed by the creatures disappeared. Curious, Dao limped forward. Countless Korean players attacked Dao directly from a distance. Only a few players with the second level ceiling could deal -1 damage to Dao. What the hell is defense? -1 is ridiculous. It can't even break defense. Stop hitting. You can't kill people like this. This big guy looks skinny, but I didn't expect him to be so strong. You should block the Japanese server. There are more amateurs there. Dao stepped forward and grabbed a stunned Korean player and lifted him up. He opened his mouth and inhaled hard towards the player, but he didn't inhale anything except seeing the creature's confused expression. Dao exerted force with his palm, and the creature in his hand immediately fell to the ground, and the body disappeared soon after. A strange race. They don't even have corpse key. They are more troublesome than Xiang. If that's the case, then all of them should die. In the following time, endless skeleton creatures swarmed towards the Korean server players until the blue bar of the Korean server players was exhausted. The skeleton creatures did not decrease. It was really outrageous. You have such a large number of skeleton creatures in the corpse C area, and you are still blocking our door here, and you still say that it's not the dog official targeting our Korean server? Exclamation mark. After the last Korean server player died helplessly, Dao stood on the empty ground, looking around at the disappeared corpses of the creatures. Dao, who originally planned to have a full meal, seemed a little annoyed. Turning his head to look in the southwest direction, he sensed that the appearance of the group of creatures was almost the same as the group of creatures just now. Could it be that they also had no corpse key feedback? In this case, should I kill them? It's a bit unnecessary. Forget it. I won't kill them. I'm tired. I'll go back to sleep. Anyway, there are many skeletons in the corpse C area. Even if they are killed by them, it doesn't matter. As long as the seat of the gods is still there, it will slowly recover. At this time, the Korean server was accusing the official on the forum. Why is there such a boss at the entrance of the endless territory of our Korean server? Give the official an explanation. It's fine if we die. Why didn't the Russian server get destroyed? It's not fair. Report. I'm going to report to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's destroying the balance of the game. I want to quit the game. Brother above, there's no need. After knowing that the Korean server was wiped out by the early god boss, the Russian server has been advancing cautiously, fearing that the boss will turn around and favor their side. However, as time goes by, it is found that not only did the boss not come, but even the nearby skeleton creatures are still so stupid. Coupled with the riots on the Korean server forum, the Russian server suddenly laughed out loud. There is no mistake in the poem, the content. Just when he was about to put all his energy into the sea of corpses, the Russian server player suddenly found an old man with corpse spots all over his body not far away, staring at him expressionlessly. What the hell? Question mark? Didn't you say you couldn't come? Exclamation mark. Isn't this a slap in our face? Exclamation mark. You damn official, can you be reasonable? It's okay for you to disgust the Korean server, but our Russian server is just starting out. Don't treat everyone equally and selflessly, okay? Or, the fifth seat of the corpse clan god, the early stage of god. Russian server player? No, shouldn't the boss be called Dao? Why is he called G? Why does this name sound so familiar? I remember, this is the corpse clan boss that the Chinese server defeated before. This is a two-front war. Why is the boss who defeated the Chinese server here? let the uncle go out for a walk. After receiving the news, the Korean server players immediately quieted down. It turned out that there was a second boss. Then we are relieved. Even if I'm fine, the damn official will not be so blatant to disgust our Korean server. After all, our Korean server is the first server in the universe, and there is still pressure from public opinion. G looked at the group of human races in front of him who were so weak. This is one of the branches of the human race. The strength is really weak. Then he remembered that he was bullied by such a weak human race in the past, and he suddenly felt bad. At the same time, Lei Ming and the Chiang region sat on the Fengming Tower and looked towards the north with a tough look. The seat of the corpse clan god has finally appeared. And Dao, who had just sat down and was about to fall asleep, also felt a familiar breath and looked towards the southwest in surprise. Gee, why did you show up? Chapter 233, the first battle of the Russian server. The Russian server players didn't know why G appeared here, but one thing was certain, if this guy got angry, the Russian server would definitely suffer. Are you one of the branches of the human race? G asked indifferently. All the Russian server members didn't know how to answer, and Yelisu stepped forward. Yes, hello, Senior G. G said indifferently, I have a favor to ask you. Of course, you can choose to refuse. Ding, the battle is started. Help the corpse race to solve the mythical beast Suzaku sealed in the Chiang area. Coordinates, XXXXX, XXXXX. Whether it is a Soul Tide area or the Sea of Corpses area, Russian server players received the system information at the same time, and Yelisu was stunned with his eyes wide open. Is this a battle? The Russian server finally ushered in a battle? God will not kill me. Wild lilies also have their spring. The Russian server is no longer a child raised by the dog official. Having stayed with Jiu Xiangsuan for such a long time, they all knew the habits of the human race to some extent. Although they looked at the human race branches in front of them like wooden chickens, they were confident that they would not refuse. After all, it was the nature of the human race to seek death and fight. They all looked back and saw a creature who was also skinny and limping towards them. It was Dao, one of the 9 seats of the corpse clan gods. You shouldn't have come back. Chiang has noticed it. Dao said. Gee, let them come. Kai Yang and the corpse clan will always have a battle, and now the opportunity has come. Dao was puzzled. Oh. Then tell me, what is the opportunity you mentioned? G turned around and looked at the human race, and Dao followed his gaze and said indifferently, them? They are too weak and have no qualifications to fight Kai Yang. G did not respond, but asked, you have been in the corpse sea for so many years. Dao nodded. Someone has to look after the house. G, did Kai Yang never come to trouble you? Dao, he came, but they couldn't find me. The ubiquitous corpse energy in the corpse sea is a natural barrier. I hid in it, and even if Lei Ming came, he couldn't sense me. Yelisu shouted to G at this time. Senior G, we humans promise you that we will help you rescue the sacred beast Suzaku. After hearing what these creatures said, Dao asked G, are you sure you want to let this group of weak creatures fight against Kai Yang? G replied, the human race is not as simple as you think. Dao frowned. The human race, I seem to have heard of it somewhere. Gee, it's been too long, and we have forgotten many memories. Do you still remember the fight between the human race, the void, and the abyss? Dao opened his eyes wide and looked at the human race in the distance. G continued, the human race is our opportunity to counterattack Chiang. Dao was silent for a while, sighed and said, in this case, I, the soul bone, will accompany you to go crazy. Suddenly a voice came, then at me, I don't want to hide anymore after so many years of running away. G and Dao were calm. An old woman came from a distance. Lai, one of the 9 seats of the corpse clan gods, a middle-level god. Lai walked slowly and approached, looking at G and smiled. Your strength has recovered so quickly. At this time, Russian players have begun to gather in large numbers at the junction of the soul-grabbing area and the Chiang area. Yelisu stepped forward and politely asked the 3 bosses. What do we humans need to do? The rookie should put himself in the right position. Any boss of the 2 camps can destroy the Russian server. The 3 corpse gods looked at the human race in front of them. Lai was surprised. There are actually humans in our corpse sea region. All of them. It's just one of the branches of the human race. After saying that, He turned to ask Yilisu, "Are you the commander of this branch of the human race?" Yilisu nodded honestly. He even knew that the human race had a commander. It seems that this old guy has a very free life in the Chinese server. All of them said, "We corpses will try our best to contain the Chiang gods who will attack later. You humans have only one goal, that is, to enter Chiang and liberate Suzaku. In addition, all the skeleton creatures in the Corpse Sea region will attack Chiang together, so you humans should stop killing them now." At this time, the Russian server players saw that their commanders were negotiating with the boss on the opposite side. They were free to do nothing, and simply continued to kill the skeleton creatures to level up. Yilisu embarrassedly told the players not to commit suicide. Killing creatures in the Corpse Sea region in front of the gods, they were crazy. It was really like lighting a light in the toilet and looking for shit. Big brothers, shouldn't there be 7 gods among the 7 Star Lords of Chiang? There are only 3 of you here, so you can't defeat them, right? Yilisu asked. Dao grinned and said, "Only 4 of the 7 Star Lords of Chiang are in Chiang, and the other 3 are chasing the other 9 of us. Lei Ming, the strongest of Chiang, is guarding Fengming Tower all year round, so there will be at most 3 Star Lords of Chiang here. You guessed right, but 3 Star Lords are enough to strangle you. No mistake." 3 space cracks appeared not far from the 3 corpse gods, and 3 Chiang Star Lords walked out of the cracks, looking at the 3 enemies in front of them, the endless corpses, and the familiar human race. Fengji, the 7 Star Lords of Chiang, the early stage of the god. Tu Fang, the 7 Star Lords of Chiang, the middle stage of the god. Shuman, the 7 Star Lords of Chiang, the late stage of the god. All turned around and said to Yilisu indifferently, "Do you know what to do?" Yilisu nodded, hesitated for a while and said worriedly, "Big brother, you only have 2 gods in the early stage, and 1 in the middle stage, and the opponent is stronger than you. Or, where I stayed before, the human race there didn't talk as much as you do." Yilisu was so angry that he didn't know what to say. "Damn, I'm worried about you, right? Okay, don't blame me for not reminding you when your ashes are scattered later. Order the Russian server players to return to the city collectively." Before disappearing, all the Russian server players saluted the 3 corpse gods with very kind eyes, as if they were seeing the 3 old men for the last time. The 3 Chiang gods looked at the human race disappearing solemnly. "Shuman, is this the human race you mentioned before? It's incredible that they have spatial strength." Tu Fang said calmly, "We will take care of the human race later. For now, kill these 3 corpses first." Fengji didn't speak, and the fierce hurricane around him suddenly became irritable. In order to prevent the 3 corpses from escaping, Shuman separated 3 water bodies and stood around them. As a god in the late stage, he could still surround 3 gods with lower realms than himself. Lai said to Ji in fear, "I don't know what trump card you have. The 3 guys in front of us are not something we can deal with." Dao released the corpse key without saying a word. Lai's words were also what Dao wanted to know. What exactly is the opportunity that Ji said? Facing the 3 Red Sun Star Lords in front of him, let alone delaying time, it would be a blessing not to be killed. Ji said lightly, "The opportunity of the corpse clan is the human race, and the creatures behind him." As soon as the voice fell, Lai, Dao, Fengji, Tu Fang, and Shuman, the 5 gods, suddenly felt a strange and threatening breath. A space-time crack appeared between them. A chubby hand grabbed the edge of the crack, and then a big belly came into view. A simple-looking pig-shaped creature stepped out of the crack. "It's really troublesome. I, the old pig, am very busy." Zhu Beiji appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 234, Fengming Tower. After Yilisu was teleported back to the Soul Drawing region, he immediately rushed to the border with the Chiang region and applied for the battle command. While on the way, at this time, the number of players participating in the war in the Russian server has reached 3 million, and 2/3 of them have reached the first level. This level ratio made Yilisu narrow his eyes. After just half a day in the Corpse Sea region, there are already so many first level players? It's outrageous. At this time, the skeleton creatures in the Yilisu region of the Corpse Sea and the elemental creatures in the Chiang region have collided head-on. The 7 Star Lords in the Chiang region are dominated by the 7 element of thunder, gold, wood, water, fire, earth, and wind. So the creatures living in the Chiang region basically have one of these characteristics. If it were before, the skeleton creatures in the Corpse Sea region would not have the strength to confront the creatures in the Chiang region head on, but because the creatures in the Chiang region that were severely damaged were only 1 in 10, Dao had ordered the skeleton creatures to rush to the enemy region when he decided to fight the 7 Star Lords. Listening to the deafening sounds of the creatures fighting in the area where the 2 bosses were, Yelisu and the Russian server players were terrified. My goodness, this noise is even louder than the couple upstairs. Fortunately, when we just surrounded and beat up the corpse skeleton creatures, they were not as crazy as they are now. Otherwise our Russian server would have suffered collectively. Then the question is, how is the Korean server feeling now? Don't ask. If you ask, they are just being tough. Haha, those old people in the Korean server are only tough in their mouths when they are old, and they are soft everywhere. This was the first time that Yelisu led such a formal race battle. A humble Russian server was sandwiched between 2 big races. If they won, they would face the sea and the spring flowers would bloom, and if they lost, they would go to the rooftop. In half an hour, I will divide into 3 groups, with 1 million players in each group, and rush to the coordinates. Be careful, the enemy is the most powerful star god among the 7 star gods of Chiang. Don't fight him. You can't beat him. You just need to find the location of the seal of Suzaku as soon as possible, and then find out the information about the seal. This time we are allowed to be wiped out, but we must break the seal all at once after 1 hour. Yelisu's order was sent 3 times on the battle channel. Important things should be said 3 times. Although the Russian server players were reckless, they also knew that their strength was at the bottom, and they did not object to the commander's order. At the same time, the other 6 servers also received the battle intelligence from the Russian server. Why did the old man of Ahuaksha service go to the Russian service to participate in the battle? So outrageous. Why do the corps only beat us and don't take Russia? I want to report. I want to unload the game. If the service is allowed to play in Southeast Asia, it can be carried for a long time. Thunder understands the movement of the Corpse Sea, and wondering why the 3 gods of water, soil, and wind have no movement after entering, and it should be done in reason. But he didn't take it too seriously. Lei Ming had confidence in these 3 gods. The 7 stars of the Red Sun had a natural restraint advantage over the corpse creatures with the help of the origin of the vermilion bird. The power of the Yang was a devastating blow to them. Suddenly, he sensed a large number of creatures appearing in the west. What's going on? Where did such a large number of creatures come from? Helpers of the Corpse clan. The thunder above Lei Ming's head suddenly roared, and the sky above the west suddenly darkened. Bright lights flashed from time to time in the clouds of distress. Yelisu looked at the drastic changes in the sky in astonishment. What the hell? We were discovered as soon as we came in. And you want to kill us? Exclamation mark. There's no need for such a big battle. The Russian server players did not receive the command and continued to move towards the coordinates in an orderly manner. Suddenly, a lightning bolt fell from the sky, instantly killing dozens of Russian server players. Then, one lightning bolt after another bombarded without any rules, and the Russian server players were stunned. Fuck. Fellow Daoist Fang is here to survive. Brothers who swore randomly, pay attention. Your punishment is coming. I'm playing a game, and I'm struck by lightning. I envy my brothers and sisters who were struck by lightning. I wonder if they will travel through time. Yelisu suddenly felt like fucking a fool. He was still being nagging at this time. He hurriedly ordered, all players, go to the coordinates at full speed. Since we have been discovered, we won't hide. Although you can kill us in seconds with lightning, we have 3 million scumbag men and women who swore by lightning. Can you kill them all? The Russian server players who released their nature straightened their backs and began to march to the coordinates. The fighting nation was born to die. There were only 2 things that scared us. One was that there was no vodka. The other was my wife. Who do you think you are? Question mark. The huge crowd of players started to die desperately. No mistake. 1 song, 1 post, 1 content, 1 content, 1 6, 1 9, 1 book, 1 bar. Take a look. Lei Ming stared at the west, thinking that the group of ants would be scared away, but unexpectedly they accelerated closer. It was really troublesome. If there were no extra star gods in the Chiang area, he would have to suppress the Fengming Tower. You ants are so bad that you will be exterminated. Half an hour later, as the players continued to move forward, the entire western sky was covered with dark clouds. At this time, the number of scum men and women who were killed by lightning had reached tens of thousands, but the journey of the Russian server was already halfway through. Yelisu looked around to avoid lightning, while carefully watching the tower gradually appearing in the distance. There was no way anyone in the entire Russian server could be struck by lightning, but only the commander could not be struck by lightning. Lei Ming was considering whether to let the elemental creatures in the Chiang area withdraw to resist the group of ants, but he finally gave up. If the tribe members were allowed to come back, the skeleton creatures would definitely pour in, which would be troublesome. The skeletons of the corpse clan were endless. It was really a disgusting race. At this time, a loud cry came from the Fengming Tower, and the dense black clouds in the sky seemed to be dispersing. Lei Ming held down the Fengming Tower with one hand, and the dark clouds in the sky stabilized again. It has been suppressed for many years without such a movement, but this time it actually resisted. Why? Is it because of this group of ants that you think there is a chance to escape? I said, you can't escape. Even if all 9 seats of the corpse clan gods come, I will die with you. Lei Ming's words made the Fengming Tower's cry even sharper, and the sound rushed directly into the ears of the Russian server players who were on the road. This cry should be the sound of the mythical beast Suzaku. The sound came from that tower. It should be there. Running is so tiring. I envy the players on other servers who have mounts. Brother, why are you so weak? Were you drained last night? Are you kidding? Am I so easily drained? I'm known as the little white dragon in the waves. 7 times a night. Waking up 7 times in one night. Chapter 235. Conditions for breaking the seal. Lei Ming, the 7 Star Lords of the Red Sun, the pinnacle of the gods, severely injured. Lei Ming kept looking at the creatures approaching him, as if he was looking at something interesting, with no ripples on his face. Lei Ming asked in a low voice, I'm curious, what race are you? The Russian server commander Big Bird Vodka, Yelisu, was about to speak, but the other party did not choose to start first, so we should also respond politely. At least communication is a labor-saving way of negotiation. Yelisu was about to speak, and the surrounding Russian server players shouted, Dad, we are human. You are the most awesome guy of the 7 Star Lords of the Red Sun, right? Don't say that so many of us bullied you. If you leave now, we can forgive you. Brother Lei Ming, listen to my advice. Let's go. Give me face. Yelisu, Lei Ming. Question mark question mark question mark. The first time the 3 million Russian servers fought a battle, they were nervous and excited. Other servers can make a fortune through battles. Why can't our Russian servers? When it comes to fighting, our server has never been afraid of anyone. The Russian server players kept shouting, and Yelisu was dumbfounded. How much did you drink? Are you still drunk from the year before last? Or are you all undercover agents from other servers? Don't you know what realm the other party is in? Don't you have any idea of your own strength? Lei Ming laughed loudly. What these so-called human race said was a joke to him. I admire you humans. It's been a long time since any creature dared to talk to me like this. After Lei Ming finished speaking to the humans, he lowered his head in thought and muttered to himself, I have also forgotten how long I have stayed on the tower. Except for the other 6 star gods, the creatures in Chiang are extremely afraid of me, and they are the only ones who can talk to me. Yelisu stepped forward and shouted, Boss, aren't you lonely up there for so long? Why don't you come down and chat with me? Lei Ming smiled and looked at the humans. What is your purpose in invading Chiang as a whole race? Yelisu was about to fool Lei Ming, but the honest Russian server player turned on the light and spoke first. Needless to say, of course it is to help you get out of trouble. You have been staying up there all the time, but you are still single? Don't you have any women who like you? How do you usually solve the problem of defecating in your pants? The damn official is so fucking inhumane. They don't give people any freedom at all. Yelisu, what the hell am I commanding? Why are you so honest? Are you playing truth or dare? You are so stupid. Why don't you just take out your credit report and let him take a look? Lei Ming was not angry when he heard the chatter of the human race. How could a god be angry at the words of an ant? he automatically filtered out the nonsense. So it's for this guy in the tower. I'm curious, how do you know about Suzaku? Yelasu desperately asked the players to shut up many times in the campaign channel, and then answered awkwardly, that's it. Oh, right. It's that we humans met another 7-star lord before, and he told us. Lei Ming looked at the human race who suddenly stopped talking, and found it interesting. Oh, really? Another 7-star lord asked you to come to Chiang to help Suzaku out of trouble? Yelasu nodded repeatedly, and Lei Ming smiled and said, then what did he tell you? Did he tell you any method to help Suzaku? Yelasu was stunned by the question, and Lei Ming smiled and said, interesting, since you don't know, I might as well tell you. To unlock the seal of Fengming Tower, millions of creatures need to enter the Fengming Tower and sacrifice their own lives to balance the original breath of Suzaku. Millions of creatures exchange with Suzaku, the former die, and the latter are reborn. Yelasu was surprised that Lei Ming would actually tell him how to break the seal and fool us. Lei Ming smiled and said, looking at your expression, are you shocked, or do you think I'm lying to you? Don't worry, this is true. As a god, I don't bother to lie to you, and I won't stop you. It's just, are you willing to sacrifice millions of creatures? In the Russian server battle channel, the conditions for breaking the seal are so simple. Just tell us like that. Is there a fraud? It shouldn't be. The dog official won't set up such an anti-human guy. If there is a fraud, we will report the dog official for deceiving consumers. You are cheating consumers. Did you play this game with Krypton Gold? Just try it, there is no loss anyway. The method to unlock the seal of Fengming Tower is, just as Lei Ming said. In Lei Ming's consciousness, no race will sacrifice millions of creatures in their own race and destroy the future of their own race. The reason why Lei Ming told the human race is because he has been lonely for too long and wants to see the human race in trouble. This is a kind of entertainment for Lei Ming. Anyway, the human race will definitely give up in the end, but the process is very, what are you doing? Exclamation mark. Under Lei Ming's confused gaze, countless humans around Fengming Tower rushed into the tower like crazy. When they touched Fengming Tower, red light curtains enveloped the humans, and then disappeared with the people and light. Go. For Suzaku. The fighting nation will be immortal. Brothers, I'm leaving first. Please tell my online girlfriend. I can't be online again in an hour. Fuck. Don't squeeze in front. 10, 100, 1000, 10,000. Although Russian players have never participated in the battle, they know that the longer you survive in a battle, the more rewards you get, but it depends on whether your character is valuable to the entire battle and how much contribution you make. If you have a share of the millions of lives that rescue Suzaku, wouldn't the experience, soul value, and honor value be huge? This is a battle with multiple gods hostile to it. So far, it is the only one in the Russian server. Countless Russian players crashed into the Fengming Tower and died. Yelasu covered his face. Too childish. Lei Ming's smiling face faded. He stood up from his sitting position and said to the human race, do you know how huge a number a million lives is for a race? Yelasu nodded. We know. It's good for them to die, so we can save more food. Lei Ming's 3 views were overturned by the human race's answer. Save food. Are you sick? As the Russian players rushed to Fengming Tower desperately, 1/10 of the progress of the million was completed. Yelasu saw Lei Ming gradually becoming gloomy and warned him, Brother Lei Ming, you just said that you would not stop us as soon as we died. Are you going to go back on your word? Monks don't tell lies. If you say you will have grass mud horses, you must have grass. No, you have to keep your word. Lei Ming ignored Yelasu, his eyes staring at the human race who were dying below gradually turned blue, and the sky suddenly thundered loudly. In an instant, countless lightning bolts struck directly, and the human race near Fengming Tower suffered heavy casualties in an instant. Human race, you have angered me. The Russian players were not surprised to see Lei Ming angry and killing people. Brother Lei Ming, you did a good job. Kill all those bastards in front. They run so fast. I thought I was going to lose at the starting line. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. Ha 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 ha. Fuck. Don't strike this side. There are too many people over there. Strike that side. Yelasu. This style of painting is poisonous. Chapter 236. Zhu Beiji shows his strength for the first time. Lei Ming was seriously injured, and his strength was limited. However, Lei Ming thought that his actions could scare off the human race, but he found that these psychopaths were even more desperate than he thought. I have lived for so many years, but I have never seen anyone laughing wildly and dying at the same time. What? The only way to face fear is to face it? Since you are looking for death, I will fulfill your wish. Countless lightnings bombarded the Russian players. The more than 3 million Russian players who participated in the battle had lost nearly 1 million at this time, but the players were not afraid. Anyway, I can't beat you, and there are no other creatures in this area that can be bullied. I'd rather die early and go online early. The injured Lei Ming forcibly summoned lightning, with a trace of pain on his face. Is it so difficult to attack at this level? It seems that after Shu Man, Tu Fang and Feng Ji come back, they will join forces to suppress Zuk and forcibly absorb the origin. Lightning continued to kill the players. Mom, I can fly. Fuck, a group of people were blown away by a lightning strike. So it can explode into the sky? Don't blow me up, I'm afraid of heights. Die quickly, die quickly. The progress of Fengming Tower has reached 3/10 at this time, and there are only 1 million Russian players left. Yelasu appealed on the battle channel. Everyone, there is no commander next. Everyone try their best to die, and strive to reach half the progress after the team is wiped out. After saying that, he rushed directly to Fengming Tower. As a commander, he must grab a place to sacrifice, otherwise it will not be high-end enough. Lei Ming was shocked when he saw this group of human races marching forward. The fearlessness of the human race not only crashed into the Fengming Tower, but also hit Lei Ming's 3 views. There is actually such a race that is not afraid of death. Why do you pay such a high price to help Zuk escape? An hour later, the Chiang area returned to peace again. The Russian players completed the team wipe achievement, and the progress of Fengming Tower was just over half. Only 500,000 of the more than 3 million people successfully attacked the Fengming Tower, and the others were all struck. It was a fresh attempt. Lei Ming looked at the devastated environment around him, sat down and began to recuperate. Although the human race was weak, there were many of them. He was already seriously injured, and it was indeed a bit beyond his ability to launch so many lightning strikes. 3 million lives were sacrificed just like that. What a pity for the human race. In the sea of corpses, Lion Dao looked at Zhu Beiji in astonishment, and they were all extremely shocked. Is this one of the great powers behind the human race? This is a new version of the ship that they have never seen. Shu Man, Tu Fang, and Feng Ji were shocked by Zhu Beiji's breath. Why would there be such a terrifying creature in the sea of corpses? Question mark? Zhu Beiji said to the 6 gods in a simple and honest way, Amitabha, don't be nervous, I'm not here to kill this time. Why don't you give me some face, and don't do anything? Lion Dao looked at each other, as if asking who this powerful creature was. Everyone stepped forward and said respectfully, thank you senior. Zhu Beiji glanced at everyone and said, I'm here only to be entrusted by the human race, to limit the killing of the other party, but I will not help you strangle them. Everyone nodded. That's enough. As a god in the late stage, Shu Man was the most intuitive to perceive the horror of the creature in front of him. In terms of realm alone, he was the same as his elder brother. Both of them were at the peak of the god, but his aura was extremely terrifying, even more terrifying than the Suzaku in his prime. Senior, did Chiang have a grudge with Chiang before? Shu Man asked vigilantly. Zhu Beiji, no. Then senior. Zhu Beiji said honestly, whether it is Chiang or the Corpse Clan, I have no intersection. I just stopped you from fighting, that's all. Shu Man asked, why? Because, by trapping you, the human race will have time to rescue the sacred beast Suzaku. Zhu Beiji suddenly became murderous, and said to the 3 Chiang gods in front of him. Lai Hedao was relieved after hearing this. It seemed that this creature was on our side. Helping Zuk escape was also the vision of the Corpse Clan. Zhu Beiji said, to be honest, I hate the Corpse Clan more than you Chiang and the Corpse Clan. But you Chiang dared to imprison my 9 provinces divine beast. If I had not converted to Buddhism, you would have been strangled by me. After hearing the words of the creature in front of them, the three gods of Chiang looked at each other. Years of tacit understanding made them know each other's thoughts. Escape. Zhu Beiji's aura, which was originally at the peak of the gods, suddenly surged. The Buddhist artifact natural heart power hanging on his chest glowed faintly, and 4 transparent light curtains like sandpaper appeared around everyone. Don't think about anything else. I won't kill you, and you can't escape. Zhu Beiji said slowly. No mistakes. 1 sentence, 1 post, 1 content, 1 in 1/6, 1 book, 1 bar, 1 look. The 3 gods of Chiang were blocked by the light curtain and could not sense the situation outside the light curtain. Forced to absorb the essence of Suzaku to achieve their own realm. Although the Corpse Clan killed many people, it is their racial nature. I'm not qualified to comment on it, but you, Chiang, are more hateful than the Corpse Clan. The living world cannot accommodate you. Hearing Zhu Beiji's harsh words, the 3 gods of Chiang looked gloomy. Schumann said, the Corpse Clan has been eating us Chiang for countless years. We are trying to survive. Is that wrong? You are just an outsider. You have no right to say anything about us. After saying that, Schumann raised his hands, and the water element around him increased greatly. Tu Fang and Fengji also attacked at the same time. The underground land and the rocks at the bottom suddenly surged up and bound Zhu Beiji's feet. Fengji rushed towards Zhu Beiji with a fierce hurricane. A large number of rocks floating on the ground were swept up by several tornadoes. The tornadoes approached Zhu Beiji from all sides. Tu Fang and Fengji planned to use this combination skill to seriously injure each other. When the 3 corpse gods Ji, Lai and Dao saw Kai Yang actually took action, they were about to help him, but Zhu Beiji lightly lifted his foot to get rid of the rock, stretched out his chubby big hand, and a weapon fell directly from the sky, which was the 9-toothed drake. Holding the 9-toothed drake, he rushed towards the tornado closest to him, and with a fierce swing, the tornado was directly cut off and dissipated, and the rock fell from mid-air. Zhu Beiji turned around and waved his hand again, and the sharp wave directly shattered the remaining tornado. Hijikata and Fengji were shocked that the combination skills of the 2 gods were so easily defeated by the other party. A drop of rain fell from the sky, and Zhu Beiji looked up and saw that the raindrops were dripping and getting bigger. Schumann suddenly found that the water element he summoned disappeared silently, and the rain in the sky gradually stopped. Schumann looked at Zhu Beiji in horror, muttering, how is it possible? Why did my ability disappear? Rain? Don't you know that I was the marshal in charge of the Cheyenne before? Zhu Beiji waved the 9-toothed drake and stood there with a calm face looking at the 3 gods of Chiang. Stay here. If you do it again, I will kill you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237, Korean Clothes Stealing Home. Lei Ming sat on the Fengming Tower, not caring about the situation in the tower that was half unsealed. As time passed, the power would dissipate. The human race had already sacrificed 3 million lives. It was impossible for more human beings to come again, and it was impossible for others to finally be as crazy as the human race. Looking at the direction of the sea of corpses, the breath of flooding, earthworks, and strong winds could no longer be sensed. In that direction, there was no abnormality, except the sound of the skeleton creatures fighting with the red sun creatures. Despite this, Lei Ming knew in his heart that the corpse gods would never be able to fight against the 3 red sun gods, so he didn't care too much. He stared at the sky blankly, so bored. In such a long time, except for a few red sun gods talking to him, only the madness of the human race just now could arouse his interest. As time passed bit by bit, he sensed a large number of creatures appearing in the west again. Lei Ming was stunned for a moment. What was going on? After an hour of online cooldown, Russian players gathered their troops again and stepped into the Chiang area. This time, not only the previous players participated in the battle, but also many who found it interesting and joined in midway. Yelasu looked at the nearly 4 million Russian server players in the campaign system, and he was full of confidence. He shouted in the campaign channel. This time we will try to break the seal of the sacred beast Suzaku at once. What do you think? If we rescue the sacred beast Suzaku this time, can we trick him into coming to our Russian server? I think so. There are so many powerful NPCs in the Chinese server. Aren't they all tricked? Not to mention the far ones. I think it would be too easy to beat the entire Asian server and the American server. Haha, the Korean server is so close to our Russian server. If we trick Suzaku over, we must greet them warmly anyway. That's right, the Korean server was planning to attack us in the Sea of Corpses before. We can't forget this favor. The familiar Russian server players stepped into the Chiang area and headed straight for the Fengming Tower without saying a word. This time, let you feel the heroic and fearless death flow from our fighting nation. Lei Ming found that more human beings were rushing towards him than before. He widened his eyes in disbelief. How could it be possible? Why do humans have so many creatures? Question mark? They just came from the west. When the Red Sun God passed by there decades ago, it was still a barren land. Where did this group of humans come from? This time, the Russian players no longer negotiated with Lei Ming. It was not a TV show, so why bother talking so much? Yi Lisu ordered. Assassin players should activate the acceleration skill as the first echelon. Regardless of life or death, just hit the Fengming Tower. The rest of the players should keep up, and don't fall behind. Try to get it done in one go. Whether you eat meat or drink soup depends on this time. As the players got closer and closer, Lei Ming saw that the humans were coming in a fierce manner. What the hell? Are you humans sick? 3 million creatures just died, and you're still coming? Question mark? How many do you give birth to in one litter? His eyes glowed blue again. This time, the lightning was more fierce and more numerous than the last time, and the Russian players were blown up to the point where they couldn't take care of themselves. Fuck. I was just struck by a slash and now they're striking me again. I've been struck by a slash before. I believe I won't be so unlucky to be struck by a slash this time. Today I'm going to try what it feels like to crash into death. Death isn't scary, but how you die is scary. The assassin players in the first echelon who crashed into the Fengming Tower were only half successful, but even so, the progress of breaking the seal of the Fengming Tower was rising. Lei Ming stared at the human race, and for the first time he felt the fear of being dominated by ants. With his own serious injuries, such an attack was already the limit. If this continued, the Fengming Tower would definitely be broken. Lei Ming knew the result, and Yi Lisu knew it too. Standing in the distance, staring at Lei Ming on the tower, his mouth curled up slightly. What about gods? Just as the Russian server players were sending themselves to death in an orderly manner, Lei Ming's mind was rapidly working to find a way. One was to let the water, earthworks, and wind in the Sea of Corpses return, but now he could not sense the positions of the three of them. The second is to forcibly plunder the original power of the vermilion bird in the Fengming Tower, to instantly kill this group of human race, but the price is that his injuries will be aggravated again. After careful consideration, Lei Ming chose the second method. I don't believe that you humans will die a second time. There are still creatures coming. Putting his hands on the Fengming Tower, Lei Ming's eyes gradually turned from blue to red, and a violent wave of flame surged in the tower towards Lei Ming. When the Russian server players saw Lei Ming's situation, they knew it was not a good thing. Is this guy going to use a big move? Is he going to transform? Is he suffering from lupus erythematosus? Why is he so red? Goddamn lupus erythematosus. Yi Lisu immediately ordered the Russian server players to buy time. At this time, the progress of breaking the seal of Fengming Tower had reached 70%, and the Russian server players had lost 1 million. Lei Ming let go of his hands. His whole body was red, and he endured the pain. He looked up and stared at the human race. Just when he was about to pour out all the energy in his body, he suddenly sensed a group of creatures in the east that were larger in number than the human race and slightly stronger in strength. Yi Lisu had already prepared himself for another round of annihilation, and then he saw Lei Ming staring blankly at the east. Why aren't you moving? Did the designer make a mistake and create a bug? At this time, in the east of Chiang, more than 5 million Korean players stepped in. The Korean commander Bubble Dragon Ma Yingdao had previously received feedback from a Korean undercover lurking in the Russian server and found that the Russian server was fighting a battle in the Chiang region and sent the coordinates over. No mistakes. 1 post, 1 content, 1619, 1 book, 1 bar. Ma Yingdao's eyes widened when he saw that the enemy in the battle was actually a boss in the realm of gods. Damn, is a Russian server so brave? They dare to tease a boss of this level? Although shocked, Ma Yingdao still applied for the Korean server battle commander and immediately urged the Korean players to participate in this operation, intercepting the Russian server and grabbing the battle resources by the way. If everything goes well, they can attack the main city of the Russian server in one fell swoop, killing 3 birds with 1 stone. So happy. When Yelisu was wondering, while aiming suddenly became sluggish, he suddenly received a message from a Russian undercover agent lurking in the Korean server. After seeing the content, he shouted fuck. He immediately told all Russian players on the campaign channel that Korean thieves were coming to steal heads, which frightened the Russian players. Are these bitches addicted to being dogs and don't want to be human anymore? I'm going to send my Korean neighbor next door to the hospital tomorrow. Fuck. I finally know why other servers don't like Korean servers so much. They are simply a failure of ape evolution. Please tell me, how many years will be sentenced for intentional injury? Korean people are in danger in Russia. Although angry, there is no turning back. With the idea of taking a shower when their heads are wet, the Russian players rushed to Fengming Tower desperately, no longer dodging the lightning that struck from the sky. Lei Ming gritted his teeth and looked at the human race below, then looked up to the east, then looked down again, twitching up and down. Yelisu, are you doing head movements? Chapter 238, Suzaku escapes from trouble. Lei Ming has sensed that the huge number of creatures in the east are also human beings. There are such a large number of races silently, and they live near the Chiang area. Lei Ming can't figure out why. At this time, he thought that the human race in the east came to support, and they were slightly stronger. He was considering whether to use the original power to eliminate the human race below, to solve the urgent problem, or to target the human race in the east who were still planning to come to support. At this time, the progress of breaking the seal of Fengming Tower has reached 80%. Lei Ming's face is deep. He can't wait any longer. The number of human races in the east is larger and stronger. They can't be allowed to get close. The Suzaku original energy on his body leaked out from Lei Ming in an instant, and the violent power swept across the entire east of the Chiang area and rolled towards the Korean server players. Lei Ming's move not only surprised the Russian server, but also the Korean server almost thought they were seeing things. Is this god in the Chiang region sick? We are here to help you deal with the Russian server. Are you going to fight me back? Did you develop feelings for each other? Fuck. Are you guys playing us here? More than 5 million Korean server players were instantly swept by red energy, and the number of Korean server battles instantly dropped to 6 figures. Russian server players also couldn't believe that the god above would ignore the Russian server and instead beat up the Korean server. Fuck. If that hit us just now, we would have been dead. Lei Ming is a good brother. He really comes when there's something wrong. If you fight like this, I won't be sleepy anymore. Does this guy have a grudge against the Korean server before? At this time, the progress of breaking the seal of Fengming Tower has reached nearly 90%, and the chirping in the tower is getting louder and louder. Lei Ming looks at the human race below with a tired face. I can withstand the power of the origin again. We must not let Suzaku escape. Lei Ming put his hands on the tower again, and the red flame flow rushed towards Lei Ming again. However, this time the plunder of the source energy was obviously much slower than the last time. Yelisu was sweating profusely when he saw Lei Ming's same action. Coming again? Question mark? What if it explodes on our Russian server this time? Originally, Yelisu was not panicked at all when facing Lei Ming's map cannon. If the team was wiped out, the team was wiped out. At most, he would wait for another hour. Lei Ming looked so weak that he couldn't be any weaker. It was only a matter of time before the seal was broken. But at this time, there was a Korean server watching covetously. If the Russian server was wiped out this time, the last bit of progress in breaking the seal of Fengming Tower would be snatched away by the Korean server. After all, the Korean server was shut down before the Russian server, and the online time had no advantage at all. Lei Ming is going to fire the map cannon again. Break the seal quickly. No time. Fuck. How can this game have such a disgusting mechanism as blocking positions? I can't even rush in if I want to. Lei Ming absorbed the source power in Fengming Tower with difficulty and slowly, sensing that the seal was getting weaker and weaker. It was still in time. It must be in time. 85%, 86%, 96%, 97%, 98%. With only the last 2% left, the Russian server players seemed to see hope, but Lei Ming finally loosened his hands again, his whole body emitting a scorching breath. His hands slowly pointed to the human race below, and a large amount of blood continued to flow from his mouth. 99%. The terrifying red wave directly overturned the environment around Fengming Tower, and the soaring Suzaku origin energy killed and injured all the Russian server players in an instant. Only 1% left. We lost and let the Korean server pick up the leak. I'm not willing to. From now on, the Russian server and the Korean server are irreconcilable. All the Russian server players who failed to get close to the Fengming Tower were disheartened, watching the heat wave sweeping over, and waiting to die. Suddenly, a space-time crack appeared above the Fengming Tower. Lei Ming looked up in horror, extremely weak, and the Russian server lucky people who were left with only 4 digits below also discovered the situation. 2 figures jumped down from the crack, and stood firmly on the Fengming Tower. Lei Ming looked at the 2 creatures in front of him. They looked like humans. One of them had a sword on his back, and was quite strong. He was stronger than all the humans he had met before, and had the strength of a god. The other wore a white robe, a sword on his waist, and a kind smile on his face, but the aura he exuded made Lei Ming unable to stand on his feet. The strength of this human was countless times stronger than his own. Are you humans? Lei Ming asked weakly with sweat falling. The human in the realm of gods whispered, human, Jiangxing, Yi Jian. The white-robed human next to him smiled and replied, I'm his master, you can call me Chunayangzi. The people who came were the poor and disciplined young man Yi Jian and the Taoist leader Lu Dongbin in the Chunayang region. Lei Ming was not surprised when he got the response. It was within his expectations. Are you two also planning to destroy Fengming Tower? No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619, one book, one forum, one look. Lu Dongbin smiled and said, my disciple meant this. I'm just leading the way. Don't pay attention to me. Although Lei Ming was weak, his eyes were extremely sharp. Yi Jian ignored the other party's killing eyes, raised his hand, and hooked the ring above the hilt on his back with his index finger, gently pulled out the sword, and directly inserted the sword blade into the Fengming Tower. The Fengming Tower was ringing with sharp ears, and the tower body was shaking violently. Yi Jian pulled out the sword blade and muttered, I don't believe it. I'm a successful 4th turn sword immortal profession. If I can't demolish your broken tower, I will go to the construction site to move bricks tomorrow. Wind sword, Yi Jian roared, and the wind breath condensed into the sword body, and once again directly inserted into the Fengming Tower. Lei Ming sensed that Zhuge was about to escape, and his eyes were calm. Since he couldn't stop it, I couldn't let you leave, otherwise all the gods in the Chiang area would lose their original power. Lu Dongbin looked at the blue light on Lei Ming indifferently. The sky was covered with dark clouds. Was this creature planning to use his life as a price to force Zhuge to fall again in the Chiang area to wait for Nirvana? Was he planning to protect the original power in this area? Lu Dongbin raised his hand and waved the sleeves of his white robe towards the sky. The originally dark clouds suddenly dissipated, and Lei Ming, who was glowing with blue light, also returned to a half-dead appearance, looking at the sky in astonishment. A sharp cry came from the Fengming Tower, and a red light rushed up to the sky and hovered in the sky. Yi Jian yawned. Lu Dongbin smiled at the red light, and Lei Ming smiled bitterly, looking at the sky with extreme fatigue. The red light gradually condensed into a small ball of red light, and finally transformed into a petite red bird, which slowly landed on Lu Dongbin's shoulder. Yi Jian looked at the little red bird. Suzaku, a divine beast, the peak of the gods. Such a small one is the peak of the gods? Yi Jian was surprised. The red bird ignored Yi Jian and spoke to Lu Dongbin. Suzaku thanks Taoist Chunayang. Lu Dongbin smiled and said, no need to thank me, I didn't do anything, you should thank these humans. Yi Jian was not polite at all. He stepped forward and grabbed the red bird. TSK TSK TSK, you are so young, and you are the mythical beast Suzaku. The system's task is to throw you to Xuanwu Island, just follow me obediently. The red bird immediately burst into flames when Yi Jian caught it. Yi Jian subconsciously let go and found that his health had dropped by half. Yi Jian was about to start a diss when the little chicken suddenly appeared beside him, transformed into a little dragon, and chirped directly at Suzaku. Suzaku looked at the chicken in surprise. King Lang, why have you become so ugly? Chapter 239. Dialogue between Liang Ting and B.G. William. Lu Dongbin smiled at the two creatures, a dragon and a bird. Yi Jian was a little stunned. What the hell was the azure dragon? The chicken continued to chirp at the vermilion bird. The vermilion bird looked at Yi Jian in surprise and confirmed again. You said this human is your master? The chicken nodded. Lu Dongbin said to the vermilion bird, the black tortoise has been born. Chunayang came here this time to ask the vermilion bird to join him. The vermilion bird nodded in agreement and then turned back to look at the extremely depressed Lei Ming. Lei Ming felt the gaze of the vermilion bird and looked up at the vermilion bird that he had suppressed for countless years with difficulty, with a complicated look in his eyes. The vermilion bird did not speak, but spread its wings and flew towards the space crack summoned by Lu Dongbin and disappeared. Yi Jian muttered, why don't we kill this old guy? Lu Dongbin smiled and said, with the Suzaku out of trouble, all the creatures in this area will lose the Suzaku's original power. As for him, his injuries cannot be reversed. He will die soon. Yi Jian understood and sent the coordinates of the Chiang region to the Chinese server before leaving. As long as the location of the Chiang region is known, the location of the Russian and Korean servers will also be clear, just on the left and right. Looking at the Chinese server camp disappearing in the sky, the players who participated in the battle in the Russian server collectively received a system prompt that the battle was successful and obtained a huge amount of soul points, experience, and honor points. The strength of the Russian server is temporarily far ahead of the American server. In the Sea of Corpses, the three Chiang gods Shuman, Tu Fang and Feng Ji are confronting the three gods of the Corpse clan, Ji, Lai and Dao. Zhu Beiji is sitting in the middle, eating wild fruits. Suddenly, he turns his head to look to the south and mutters, the Suzaku is out. Although the voice is small, the other six gods heard it. Before the three Chiang gods could react, they suddenly found that the source energy in their bodies was rapidly lost, and their realm fell straight down. What happened? Exclamation mark. A sharp cry came from the south, and the three Chiang gods looked dazed. The three gods of the Corpse clan also discovered the other party's abnormality, and they were ecstatic. The human race succeeded. Unexpectedly, in such a short time, the human race could withstand the pressure of thunder and successfully escape the Suzaku. Zhu Beiji didn't even look at the Chiang camp, and stood up, and said to the three seats of the Corpse clan, the Suzaku has escaped, and they no longer have the conditions to compete with you. I don't care about the grudges between your two clans, but excessive killing is not good after all. You should take care of yourself. After that, the transparent light curtain around disappeared, and Zhu Beiji stepped into the space crack neatly. Because they lost the original energy of Suzaku, the three people in Chiang became extremely weak, and lost their ability to move for a short period of time. Dao was about to kill them, but Ji stopped them. They are no longer a threat. Just wipe out the creatures in Chiang and let them go. Dao and Lai looked at each other, and Lai said, Chiang and our Corpse clan are in a irreconcilable feud. Ji said indifferently, I know, but don't forget, the reason why we can turn things around is entirely because of the human race. I have no objection to how you strangle them in the future, but now, we have to sell out the face of the human race. In the Iron Salt Sea, above Xuanwu Island, a space-time rift appeared. Yi Jian, Lu Dongbin, and Suzaku stepped out, and Xuanwu Island shook slightly. A spirit turtle jumped out of the Shura Tower, the tallest tower on Xuanwu Island. After seeing the spirit turtle, Suzaku called out, Xuanwu, long time no see. Xuanwu, Suzaku, you've become stronger. Suzaku, I become stronger every time I achieve nirvana, unlike you who only know how to sleep. After saying that, Suzaku lowered his head to glance at Xuanwu Island, and was surprised to find that there were many residual souls sealed on the island. He turned to ask Lu Dongbin, Master Chunang, you want me to come here? Is that your plan? Lu Dongbin smiled and said, the remaining souls of the Shura tribe on this island are trapped in the Shura Tower. The human race wants to borrow the Suzaku origin to help them escape. After the Shura tribe is destroyed, the remaining souls in the tower will be free, and the human race will return the origin. Xuanwu also said, for so many years, I have been using the Xuanwu origin to stabilize their remaining souls, but I can't get them out of the tower. The Suzaku origin has the ability to be reborn, so borrowing your origin is perfect. Suzaku felt the remaining souls of the creatures on the island and sighed. They were really like him, also lost their freedom and were trapped. As for the human race, Suzaku believed that simply borrowing his origin would not limit his freedom, nor would he be greedy. Suzaku was willing to lend it. Okay. Lu Dongbin smiled. The human race asked me to tell Zuk that they owe you a favor. Zuk looked at Yi Jian and threatened, be nice to King Lang. Yi Jian said with a TSK to show his disdain. I'm now 4th level sword immortal. How can I be threatened by a little guy like you? In reality, Bai Bing asked Hei Bei why he wanted to let the origin of Zuk act on Xuanwu Island. Hei Bei, Xuanwu only stabilized the residual souls of the Shura clan and prevented them from dying. The origin of Zuk can let them regain their new life and get rid of the Shura tower to gain freedom. In this way, Xuanwu can escape, the Shura clan can escape, and Zuk will not be restricted as long as he does not die. Xuanwu knows the location of the Shura clan's homeland. After escaping, Xuanwu will definitely fight against them, and the human race can join the war then. Bai Bing realized that the role of Zuk was so great. No wonder Hei Bei suggested that Lu Dongbin invite Zuk to Xuanwu Island. Ingjiushan Xuandu, Liangting smiled. After receiving the coordinates from Jian Crossing, Yi Jian, in a private message. Although this guy is quite arrogant, he still has a sense of responsibility. However, when the Russian server received the battle notification, Liangting had already received the coordinates from the Chinese server players lurking in the Russian server. Not far from the European server, there is only an unknown area between the Chiang area and the firing area above the European server. Since I received the coordinates here, the European server must have received the coordinates as well. Since the Iron Prison battle ended, and the game upgraded to 2.0, and opened the cross-server friend system, Liangting has already added Veggie William, the European server commander who drives a tank, as a friend. No mistakes, 1 post, 1 content, 1 book, 1 forum, 1619. Liangting, what are you going to do? BG William, since the Russian and Korean servers are both to the north of me and so close, I have to visit them no matter what. Liangting, which server are you going to attack? BG William, what do you think? Liangting, the Russian server will need to face the void or the abyss in the future. They need to grow stronger. BG William, I think so too. Are you Chinese servers interested in joining us? Liangting, to be honest, no. The Ring of Fire area to the north of you is too hot, and our 2 servers can't go there. Moreover, the Red Sun battle was successfully won by the Russian server. Now the Red Sun area is under the jurisdiction of the Russian server. If we take a detour, the journey is too far. BG William, then go around from the Xia polling area. Liangting, it's up to you. BG William suddenly changed the subject. Your Chinese server's target is the Sea of Corpses, right? Liangting did not answer. BG William continued, you plan to direct the attention of our European server to the Korean server, and then go straight to the teleportation point in the Sea of Corpses. Is this your plan? Liangting, you are very smart. BG William made a prompt decision. The Sea of Corpses is above our European server. We have the advantage of distance. We will stop you from conquering it. After the system cancelled the pre-3rd level task of conquering 10 regions, we in the European server also have many 3rd level players. You may not be able to take advantage of us. Liangting, conditions. BG William, your Chinese server and our European server will fight from the Xia polling region to the Korean server. The regions conquered in the middle will belong to our European server, and the Sea of Corpses will belong to your Chinese server. Liang Ting was silent for a while and said, with you as the commander of the European server, it will be difficult for other servers to surpass it. BG William, I just chose the most stable option with the most benefits. After all, in the Sea of Corpses, there is a local that you Chinese server is on good terms with. That is one of the 9 seats of the Corpse clan, and it is difficult for the European server to intervene. Chapter 240, The Purpose of the Chinese Service. The Xiapo Ridge area has now become the homeland of the elves and wizards. Previously, due to the evil spirit, the 2 tribes had to place the civilians in Xiapo Ridge. Later, they were surprised to find that the environment of this area was similar to that of the Yunhei forest, and there were no powerful enemies. After private discussions, Nanpo and Wuan both felt that they could place the creatures of the 2 tribes in this area. In the Yunhei forest, there was a rogue race called the human race. Nanpo and Wuan both felt that they were deeply bullied, and the tribesmen were extremely easy to be led astray by the human race. The creatures of the 2 tribes were so simple before, but now even the children occasionally say a few words of grass mud horse. How could the patriarchs of the 2 tribes bear it? The children are the flowers of the future. European players don't care. Anyway, the elves and wizards are allied races. Go ahead, it's just a game. If you have the ability, we won't care about you, even if you go to heaven. Moreover, there are no creatures in Xiapo Ridge, and it's not bad to have 2 races guarding there. Since the Iron Prison area was destroyed, the European server has now lost a high-level training place. In a short period of time, it must expand its territory. Even if there is no battle to fight, it is better to find a region with abundant creatures for players to level up. In half a day, when the human race panted to the downhill ridge area, the European server had been waiting for a long time. Damn it, I didn't do anything today to rush, and I changed en mounts. Finally arrived, right? My mom asked me why I was panting while playing a game. How should I explain? Tell your mom that everyone's physique is different. Liang Ting and BG William set the number of participants to be unlimited this time, but the level was set at the 3rd level. The 2 powerful servers temporarily formed an alliance. Quality is better than quantity, and too many players would be a burden. After moving, the elves and wizards wanted to live and work in peace and contentment, and did not want to have too much intersection with the human race. Why do I care about you guys coming here? Anyway, I don't care about your food. Why do I feel that these 2 races have become indifferent after moving here? We may be separated, but the feelings are still there. Please don't be so close, okay? Have you forgotten how good we were to you? Or do you think we can't lift a knife anymore? The children have grown up and become rebellious. It's a headache for parents. Liang Ting looked unhappy and walked up to BG William and said, you are too far away. You have done nothing in the whole day, but rushed on the road. BG William laughed immediately. It was the first time he saw the Chinese server so impatient. Let's fight quickly and decisively. Try to sweep it all in one go, otherwise you will have to run again if you die. Liang Ting sneered. I hope so in one go. You European servers better not lag behind. The Chinese server only sent out 1 million 3rd turn players this time, which surprised BG William. The strength of the Chinese server is so great that even the European server dare not anger it. The European server now has more than 3 million 3rd turn players, and this time it also directly dispatched 3 million 3rd turn players. What is the Chinese server doing? BG William asked. Why did you only have 1 million 3rd turn players from your Chinese server? And the 3 4th turn players unique to your Chinese server were not on the list before. Liang Ting said disdainfully, it's just a battle. Why do so many people come? It's a waste of time. BG William was thoughtful, but he didn't think too much. Anyway, the European server had agreed to give the Sea of Corpses to the Chinese server, and the other party didn't need to trick him. At this time, the 3 4th turn players from the Chinese server, Jiangxin Jiangxing, Yi Jian, Luohanshan Wuang, Nangjun, and Bodhisattva Leona Use Shampoo, Zhao were flying rapidly northward over the firing area. Fiang, Zuhan, and Jizai, the 3 creatures, carried the human creatures they were responsible for, and rushed to the Sultai area of the Russian server. Liang Ting had two goals. One was to go to the Sea of Corpses, and the other was to go to the Soltai area, to form an alliance with the Russian server. Once the alliance was successful, the two servers would be able to freely teleport to each other's conquered areas. At that time, the Soltai region, the Red Sun region, and the Sea of Corpses region will all be included in the mobility of the Chinese server. There are two advantages to doing this. One is that it limits the European server geographically. The other is that for the sake of the overall situation, when the Russian server is directly attacked by the Void or the Abyss in the future, whether it is the support of the Chinese server or the retreat of the Russian server, it can be much more proactive. Because the source of the evil spirit was solved by the human race, Fiang and Zuhan, two late-stage holy spirit creatures trapped in the Quicksand River, owed the human race a great favor. When the three people from the Chinese server came to the Shadow Kite clan and the Cold Kite clan for support, Fiang and Zuhan were happy to help. Are you kidding? I have been trapped for so long, and the affairs of the clan are being solved by the younger generation as the clan leader. Why don't you take this bright excuse to find an opportunity to run outside? Question mark. The world is so big. I want to go and see. Fiang said in shock. There is a terrifying aura under this area. Zuhan agreed. That's right. Once the creatures below are hostile to us, we will all die here. Yi Jian said expressionlessly. It doesn't matter. He won't attack us. Are you kidding? Why would Nezha attack us for no reason? Although Fiang and Zuhan didn't know why the human race would say such a thing, they didn't say much when they saw that the human race was not afraid. The two creatures who came into contact with the human race for the first time were very simple and felt that the human race was very fearless and brave. No mistake. One song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. Take a look. After flying over the firing area, Yi Jian, Nangjun, and Zhao Mule received a system prompt. Colored stone area was discovered. This name is so delicate, it is estimated that there are no powerful creatures. However, the next second, Fiang and Zuhan said again, there is also an extremely terrifying aura in this area. The three were surprised, and Yi Jian asked, compared with the aura of the area just now, which aura is stronger? Why don't players have a game mechanism to perceive aura? Fuck. Fiang said, it's almost the same. It should be stronger here. Zuhan, yes, but the aura here is relatively peaceful, not as violent as the one just now. The three players looked at each other, and Yi Jian said in the team channel, the creatures under this area are stronger than Nezha's aura. Zhao Mu, we must find a chance to find out. If it is our legendary immortal NPC, we must not let the European server seize the initiative. Nangjun, yes, then the commander and I will find some trustworthy people to come here privately. If it is not an enemy, we can have another 4th level player. In the Xia polling area, the player armies of the Chinese and European servers have already set out to the north. After receiving the information, Liang Ting checked it calmly. It was the information about the Keishi area, reported by Yi Jian and the other two. Her eyes condensed. At this time, BG William turned around and said, the unknown area is ahead. I hope that the Chinese server can cooperate closely with the European server. Liang Ting smiled and said, definitely. Ding, the East China Sea area was found. The 3rd level players from the Chinese and European servers who participated in the battle received the system message at the same time. Chapter 241, East China Sea. The East China Sea region is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides and the sea on the east. The entire region has very little land. Because of its extremely low terrain, seawater irrigates the region, resulting in the border between seawater and land everywhere in the East China Sea region. At first glance, you would think that the land in the region is an island in the ocean. The European server players looked miserable when they saw the environment in the region. There was no other way except to take a boat. They couldn't swim across, right? The regions conquered by the European server are basically not bordering the ocean, so European server players rarely buy ships, and even if they do, they don't upgrade them. All European server players turned their eyes to the expressionless Chinese server players behind them. The richest and best equipped ones are the official favorites of the Chinese server. The players of the Chinese server laughed out loud after seeing the miserable expressions of the European server players. They want us to lend them the boats. It's not impossible, but how do we calculate the soul value? You can't expect us to get it for free. So, we should be prepared for danger in times of peace. Even if there was no ocean area before, we should buy and upgrade ships. We should learn to plan ahead. Are you stupid now? The child is also young and doesn't understand many things. You should learn to be smarter in the future, okay? Hearing the Chinese server players start to preach like elders, the European server players gritted their teeth but couldn't refute. What can I say? Question mark? What can I dare to say? Question mark? It is estimated that the ships in the hands of the Japanese server players are not as luxurious as those in the Chinese server. Beji William looked at Liangting, hoping that the commander of the Chinese server could come forward to communicate, but Liangting was planning to help the 3/4 level guys to buy time. I can communicate, but I guess these guys won't listen. After all, this is their private property. I can't force them to borrow it unconditionally. Even the Chinese army used to write IOUs when they asked the common people to borrow things. Liangting looked helpless, and Beji William cursed in his heart. You are kidding me. Private property. You are just trying to extort some soul points from our European server. It's obviously your server that has the most money. In the end, Beji William agreed that the Chinese server would lend the ships, and each European server would pay 1000 soul points per hour as a reward, which made the Chinese server players generous. Don't underestimate the cost of 1000 per hour. In Planet, a phenomenal game that cannot be played with gold, soul points are more valuable than real money. In the East China Sea region, the Chinese server summoned nearly 10,000 large ships, all of which were level 4, and some local tyrants summoned dozens of level 5 ships. A level 4 ship can carry 384 souls, and can resist attacks from gods for a short period of time, while a level 5 ship can carry 1536 souls, and can resist attacks from holy spirits for a short period of time. The soul value required for each ship upgrade increases exponentially. Now the highest level ship in the entire Chinese server is only level 5. The European server players looked at the endless large ships with surprise. Compared with the level 1 ships they bought, they felt extremely inferior, and suddenly felt that 1000 per hour was not expensive. However, when the European server players boarded the ship, Bai Bing was very kind to help the transaction between the Chinese server and the European server to extract a 5% handling fee. The reason was extremely strong cross-server transactions. Not charging a handling fee is not regular. This time, the European players laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, the damn officials are still the same. Sister Lee, it's right. It should be like this. Indeed, they should charge. After all, it's the transaction between players on 2 servers, so they should charge a symbolic fee. The damn officials finally have a conscience and only charge 5%. Faced with the European players' enthusiasm, the Chinese players gritted their teeth. Damn, you didn't give me a discount when I upgraded my ship. Now you're taking advantage of me. Question mark? Give me an invoice. Do you have one? Question mark? Nearly 10,000 ships set out in a mighty manner, and on the rock wall below the ocean in the East China Sea, countless pairs of eyes slowly opened and looked up at the shadows of the ships swimming above. At this time, Beji William was standing on the level 5 ship summoned by the Chinese server commander. He found that Liangting was a little absent-minded and asked Liangting, "What are you thinking about?" Liangting certainly wouldn't tell you that I was reading the information feedback. She smiled and said, "This area is too quiet. Don't you think it's strange?" Beji William nodded, and Liangting continued, "I don't believe that there is no living creature in such a vast area." Beji William, I think so too, but we didn't find any signs of living creatures during this journey, unless Liangting, unless they live under the ocean, we didn't see them. The two commanders looked at each other, and suddenly countless water columns rolled up from the sea. A large number of creatures appeared near the 10,000 ships, staring at the players on the surrounding ships, with a total of 50,000. A creature with an extremely deep color changed into a human form and gently landed on the sea and stood there, with sharp eyes showing an evil smile. Baling, the patriarch of the Sea Dragon clan, in the middle stage of the Holy Spirit. Except for Bailang, the lowest level of all the other sea dragons is a level of high level creatures, and there are thousands of sea dragons that have reached the level of gods. This area has not been visited by any creature for a long time, Bai Lang said with an evil smile. Liangting and BG William looked at each other and guessed it right. No mistake. BG William's goal is not only to go to the endless territory of the Korean server, but also to include the areas explored on the way into the territory of the European server. Seeing that the patriarch of the Sea Dragon tribe in front of him is actually in the middle stage of the Holy Spirit, he didn't know how to communicate for a while. Compared with the European server, the Chinese server naturally has no such considerations. It's none of our business. We are just responsible for fighting. There are only thousands of gods and tens of thousands of high-level creatures. We are not afraid of eggs. Liangting smiled and simply said BG William's purpose directly. The human race came here to form an alliance with the nobles. Human race? I haven't heard of it. Do you think you are qualified to form an alliance with our sea dragons? Bai Lang said with a restrained smile. Liangting also smiled and responded, there should be. I wonder what the nobles think. BG William looked at Liangting speechlessly. You said it without any pressure, but asking so directly is really a waste of worry. Bai Lang, your human race has a large number of creatures and your strength is also acceptable, but this is in the ocean after all. What do you think will happen if our sea dragons eat all your human race? The players all laughed. I think they will not be full. That's right, eating is the same as not eating. Then again, there are only tens of thousands of sea dragons, and there are not enough for so many of us to share. I'm not afraid of fighting, but I feel bad that my ship was overturned. It's a waste of soul points to repair it. We paid the soul points. We have to take some risks. So give me a definite answer. Are we going to fight or not? Fight at sea or on land? At this time, BG William also heard that the group of sea dragons in front of him were very arrogant and would not sincerely form an alliance with the human race. In this case, just be straightforward and fight directly. Chapter 242, Double Standards of Bai Lang. BG William nodded to Liangting, who understood and smiled immediately. She thought that she was just helping the European server this time, but she didn't expect to get involved in a battle. Liangting sent a message on the battle channel. A battle is about to be launched against the Sea Dragon tribe. It is recommended that the ships arrive on land before starting. Fighting at sea is easy to damage the ships. Of course, the local tyrants are free to do whatever they want. BG Williams said to Bai Lang, Senior Patriarch, the human race has no intention of fighting with the Sea Dragon tribe. Is there really no other way to communicate? This trick was learned from the Chinese server. Before fighting, occupy the moral high ground first, and wait for the other party to make it clear before taking action. Otherwise, after the fight, the other party pretends to be pitiful, and she will feel bad. Didn't I just say that the Sea Dragon tribe is going to eat all the humans? Bai Lang thought, didn't I just say it clearly enough? The language of this race is quite clear, and the ability to understand should be okay. Bai Lang watched thousands of ships approaching the nearest land. What is this for? Instead of turning around and leaving, they landed nearby. Do I think I'm telling you a joke? Bai Lang was about to order his people to attack the human race, but when he saw BG William looking at him sincerely, as if he was really curious and persistent about the question he asked, he felt a little guilty for a moment. It seemed that the human race was really not very smart. Wouldn't it be shameful to bully a group of mentally retarded creatures? But sensing the urging of tens of thousands of sea dragons, Bai Lang sighed and said, forget it, just eat it. I hope it won't affect my IQ after eating it. Bai Lang replied positively, don't worry, there are millions of human beings in your race. The sea dragons don't need so many creatures to fill their stomachs. When the time comes, whether you surviving human beings leave or continue to move forward, we will not stop you. After getting the answers they wanted, BG William and Liangting smiled, and then each sent commands in the battle channel in their own server. Bai Lang saw that the two human beings closest to him actually laughed, and he couldn't bear it in his heart. Idiot. Bai Lang had just ordered his tribe to attack the human race, and the human race suddenly attacked after landing, bombarding the surrounding sea dragons with countless energy-added bows and arrows, spells and other long-range attacks. Except for the gods of the Sea Dragon tribe who reacted quickly and dodged, all the higher creatures were injured at the same time. Nearly half of them were seriously injured, and nearly 1,000 died. Liang Ting and BG William were chatting at this time. The former said, "There are only tens of thousands of sea dragons, but there are not enough for our 2 servers." BG William nodded. "This is originally a benefit of our European server. You Chinese server just forced to participate." Liang Ting, "You can't say that. Without our Chinese server's ships, you can't get here. Moreover, we are helping your European server to improve efficiency, swallow the sea dragons as soon as possible, and go to the endless territory as soon as possible." BG William shook his head. "Just take care of the East China Sea area today and visit the Korean server tomorrow. Time is running out." The sea dragons suffered heavy losses from the sudden attack of the human race. Even Bai Lang, a creature of the Holy Spirit realm, was surprised. Seeing that the 2 human creatures closest to him were still chatting, he was immediately angry. The higher creatures of the sea dragons quickly hid back in the sea, and the seriously injured creatures fled directly to recuperate, but many dead bodies of the sea dragons still floated on the sea. The sea dragons at the god level rushed directly to the nearest land to exterminate the human race. The Shield Star class directly activated its full state and forcibly stopped the sea dragon creature of the god level. At the beginning, the sea dragon god was still sneering at these human beings who were looking for death and actually planned to use their flesh to resist their huge bodies. However, as their bodies were stopped, the human beings who resisted them actually grinned at them, as if mocking them. The sea dragon god was shocked and terrified. How could it be possible that a creature of the higher level of creatures actually stopped them alone? Question mark? The Life Master with strong healing ability and the Speech Master with extremely comprehensive blessing ability in the back kept taking care of the Shield Star who was resisting the Sea Dragon God and forcibly raised his health. The 3rd level players of the European server were still normal. After stopping the Sea Dragon God, all the nearby European server players directly chose to attack it and intended to kill it with one blow. The 3rd level players of the Chinese server were much more abnormal. Anyway, there were so few sea dragon gods, and even if they were killed, they would not get much experience. What's more, they were working for the European server now, so they didn't have to work so hard. The nearby Chinese server players did not attack the sea dragon spirits, while the Chinese server Shield Stars who intercepted the sea dragon spirits held the sea dragon's mouth tightly with both hands and kept mocking. "Surprised? Makabaka? Look at you. Why don't you just attack over there? Why do you have to attack us? We are innocent. Don't you know? Don't think that the gods are so powerful. You are young and don't learn well. You have to fight. You will suffer a loss this way. Don't you know? We will be very angry if you are so naughty. When the time comes, we will learn from the Japanese server and dump some nuclear waste water into the sea, and you will be in trouble. Tell us a joke and I will let you go, okay? How do you see dragons, mate?" Almost all the sea dragon spirits were killed by European server players, but the sea dragon spirits in the Chinese server survived and were facing the torture of being insulted. Liang Ting saw that the good people in the Chinese server simply asked them to take the sea dragon spirits in their hands as hostages in the battle channel. Bai Lang found that the human race had almost no casualties, while his own sea dragon tribe had more than half of their casualties. The strongest sea dragon spirits in the tribe were either killed or trapped. He was angry and at a loss. Kill them. No, once you do it, the surviving sea dragon spirits in the hands of the human race will also be killed. And there are so many of them, you can't kill them all, even if you die of exhaustion. Don't do it, and let them let go of the sea dragon spirits? Exclamation mark. It's not showing it, and I just said that I would eat all the human race. Damn it. It's too early. How can these little guys be so powerful? Exclamation mark. Liang Ting and BG William finished chatting and saw Bai Lang with a constipated face and broke the awkwardness. Senior Patriarch, do you have anything to say? Wu Yiko Yefa. Bai Lang finally put the safety of his people first, gritting his teeth, but not daring to get angry. You humans, don't go too far. What exactly do you want? Beg William and Liang Ting looked at each other. Damn, have you forgotten what you just said? The players present laughed immediately. This guy, you can tell at first glance that he is hypocritical. What kind of family is he from? How can they educate a child so asking for a beating? In reality, he would occupy seats on the bus, dance on the basketball court, and drive on the road. he would occupy the same seats. Is he really in the Holy Spirit realm? How did he live so long? Liangting and BG William also laughed. It was really interesting. Liangting replied disgustingly, I don't plan to do anything. I just want to eat all of you sea dragons. But there are too many humans, so it may not be enough. Bai Lang got angry. Aren't you afraid that I will kill you all? As a socially phobic BG William is often bullied in reality. This kind of hypocritical behavior often happens to him, so he is extremely touched by Bai Lang's words and said to Liangting, please ask the players on your server to kill all the sea dragon spirits. The European server does not intend to negotiate with them. It will directly destroy the sea dragons and forcibly conquer the East China Sea. Liangting had always had a kind impression of BG William, but she didn't expect that he would be more ferocious than herself. However, the European server has the final say here, and since the European server commander has spoken, okay. Bai Lang was shocked when he heard the words of the two human races. You dare. Just as the Chinese server players were about to take action, a huge water tornado suddenly rolled up in the ocean east of the East China Sea region, with an extremely intimidating momentum. A shocking voice came from the east. Wait. Chapter 243, Awoke, the Dragon King of the East Sea. In the East China Sea region, players from both servers heard a sound like an explosion from the east, and all the players turned their heads to look. Bai Lang was ecstatic after hearing the sound, and looked towards the east with hope in his eyes. A cloud in the sky dragged a figure, and rushed towards the crowd. When the players saw the newcomer, they were all surprised. The European server players didn't feel much, but the Chinese server players were collectively stunned. They were not surprised by the newcomer's strength, but the identity of the newcomer. Awoke, the Dragon King of the East China Sea, a member of the Dragon Clan, one of the 4 Dragon Kings of the sea, in the early stage of Shengming. Bai Lang hurriedly saluted respectfully. Dragon Lord. The Dragon King of the East China Sea ignored Bai Lang and looked at the huge human race in front of him and fell into deep thought. The human race has actually been born. BG William looked at Liangting, as if asking if you are familiar with this fat man with a dragon head and a human body. Liangting politely said to Awoke, Senior Dragon King. Awoke landed in front of Liangting and gently clenched his fists. The sea dragons are unreasonable to the human race. My East China Sea Dragon Palace will punish them. I hope the human race will show mercy. The European players were all surprised. Is this guy really in the early stage of Shengming? Why is he so polite? Is he fake? However, it seems normal to the players of the Chinese server. The legends of the Dragon Kings of the 4 Seas are so polite. Because of the general situation, no immortal race dares to offend them, and can only guard their own piece of land. Bai Lang was also surprised. The strongest person in the East China Sea actually showed kindness to the human race in front of him. Question mark? Liangting nodded. Since the Dragon King has spoken, the human race will naturally give the Dragon King face. The purpose of this trip is not to strangle living beings, but to form an alliance with the races along the way. Unfortunately, the leader of the Sea Dragon tribe, Liangting, didn't finish her words, but Awoke naturally knew the cause of the incident and said to Liangting, my friend, you don't know that the Sea Dragon tribe was too greedy and often swallowed and killed other creatures for no reason in the East China Sea, so I demoted them here. I never thought that they still didn't repent and actually coveted the friends of the human race. This time when I go back, I will trap them for hundreds of years. As for the alliance mentioned by the human race, the Dragon Palace in the East China Sea is willing to make friends with the human race. The European players collectively showed joyful expressions. BG William didn't expect it to be so easy this time. He originally thought that he needed to defeat the Sea Dragon tribe before he could occupy the East China Sea. Unexpectedly, now it is effortless. Not only does he have the East China Sea, but he also has the Dragon Palace in the East China Sea. Although he doesn't know how big the Dragon Palace in the East China Sea is. A butterfly of light flew onto Awoke's shoulder. Awoke immediately showed a horrified expression and trembled unconsciously. After a while, the butterfly of light flew away. Awoke blushed and humbly bowed to the butterfly of light. At the same time, all players on major servers received a message from the system. The Dragon Palace Sea area in the East China Sea is open. Players who meet the conditions can go there and pay a certain amount of soul points to try to change their jobs for the 4th time. The 4th job in the Dragon Palace Sea area in the East China Sea is UAO. The job change must meet the following conditions. 1. The 3rd job is a mage job. 2. Upgrade the ship to level 4 or above. 3. Each 3rd job mage player can only try to change his job once a week. Note that the 4th job UAO is a water mage job, and in principle it cannot be changed after the job change. Players on all servers were blown away by this announcement. The sudden happiness made these hungry kids feel like teddy bears or a thigh. Fuck. The 4th job. The spring of the mage profession is here. Why can only mages have the 4th job and our other professions don't have it? It's unfair. It's terrible. The last dignity of us assassin players is gone. Excuse me, is it too late for me to delete my account and start over? Let's not talk about anything else. Where is the address of the official headquarters? I'll send them some local specialties. BG William was confused. What the hell? Didn't we agree that the East China Sea Dragon Palace area belongs to our European server? How come it is open to all server players? Are you making fun of us? And why do we have to upgrade the ship to change jobs? Exclamation mark. Tell me why. Now, apart from the mages in the Chinese server, who are so bored to upgrade, which other servers mages will do this kind of thing of burning soul value? Damn official, you really only focus on the soul value in our players' hands, right? Question mark? Liang Ting's expression was serious, but in fact, she was already laughing inside. You can't yell in front of the European server players, right? It's too offensive to the European server. Not only that, Liang Ting also asked the players of the Chinese server to be low-key in the campaign channel. Don't be too arrogant. Now the players who meet the conditions are basically the players of the Chinese server. Don't take advantage of them. The Sea Dragon spirit hostages that were in the hands of the Chinese server players before were now thrown aside. What the hell? Wasting my time. I still need to change my job. Suddenly, the entire Chinese server army lost 1/5 of its number. It's easy to know where these people went, and the mage players who met the conditions in the Chinese server Jiushan Zuandu were all teleported to the Dragon Palace area in the East China Sea like crazy. Although the teleportation fee is very expensive, the ships have upgraded their souls, so this fee is not worth mentioning. Ao Guang said to the human race, since the matter is over, I will take my leave first. Liang Ting and the players of the Chinese server were very friendly and waved goodbye to Ao Guang, while the European server players gritted their teeth and didn't know what to say for a while. You said that this old dragon came to help the Chinese server, but it's not entirely true. At least all the players on the server benefited. But you said you were here to be a peacemaker, so shouldn't our European server benefit? Now it seems that only the Chinese server is benefiting. What a mess. No mistake. One song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. Bai Lang transformed back into a huge grey sea dragon, circled around Ao Guang and flew away, and when he disappeared, he did not forget to look back at the human creatures who made the sea dragon suffer. Liang Ting smiled embarrassedly at BG William. Look, our Chinese server is now missing 1/5 of the players participating in the war. I hope you don't mind, but don't worry, there are definitely enough ships. BG William, then the cost of renting the ship. Liang Ting smiled and replied in a friendly manner, not a penny less. BG William. In reality, Henny Bai looked at Bai Bing speechlessly. To achieve the 4th job in the Dragon Palace of the East China Sea, you only need to meet the 1st and 3rd conditions. As for the conditions for upgrading the ship and paying soul points to try to change jobs, you are too mean, aren't you? Bai Bing said, it was you who said you wanted to earn more soul points. Now the players benefit, and you earn soul points too. It's the best of both worlds. Don't be so ungrateful. Hey Bai was speechless, but your charging standard is too outrageous. There are many players who don't have so many soul points. Bai Bing smiled evilly, you don't understand. Humans are a species that is obsessed with emotions. If you don't have them, you can borrow them from your friends. Many players will save the soul points in their hands and not use them. I have to find a way to let them use them. If they don't use them, they will be borrowed. This is called promoting consumption. This is what I learned when I was in school. Hey Bai, okay, just don't go too far. Bai Bing suddenly asked, why is Awoke Wang, as a dragon king in the Shengming realm, so respectful to the human race? Hey Bai, the dragon race used to be the strongest race in the world, but with the birth of the saints, the dragon race has lost its former glory. In addition, the dragon race is lustful and greedy, and has gradually lost the deterrent power of the first generation of dragons. In the past, there were countless gods or creatures in Jiazhou that were stronger than the dragon race, and they were all eyeing the foundation of the dragon race. In order to protect their last territory, the dragon race chose to submit to Taoism. Because the dragon race has existed for countless years, they know many secrets that other races don't know. They know that the human race is the protagonist between heaven and earth, so they are naturally more polite to the human race. Awoke Wang just wants to make a good relationship with the human race. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244, The Corruption Inside the Korean Server. In the Endless Territory, all the members of the Korean server were ready for battle. Since the European server and the Chinese server gathered, the Korean server commander Bubble Dragon, Ma Yingdao, knew that things were serious. He shouldn't have organized players to harass the Russian server in the Chiang area. Not only did he not disgust the Russian server, but he also exposed his approximate location. One wrong step led to another. At this time, the Korean server players knew that this was a life and death moment. They couldn't beat the European server, and now there was an additional Chinese server. Why did they only target their own server? Don't you know the location of the Russian server? Question mark. They are weaker than us. Why are you bullying us? Endless Territory has been under development since the Korean server was opened. For all the main city areas of the servers, the area of Endless Territory is undoubtedly the largest. So far, the Korean server has not been able to fully explore it. Hanfu has set up dozens of return points for all races in the Endless Territory. The strongest ones are the Melting Snow Clan and the Kixing Clan. The two races have survived in the Endless Territory for countless years. Countless years ago, holy creatures were born in the tribes, but for some reason, the current leaders of the Melting Snow Clan and the Kixing Clan are only at the level of gods. Hanfu originally hoped that the Melting Snow Clan and the Kixing Clan could jointly resist the visits from the European and Chinese servers, but the two tribes, which had been peaceful for countless years, directly refused. Hanfu was helpless. Soon after the Hanfu was opened, it encountered two races that seemed extremely terrifying at the time, but when the two races discovered Hanfu, they did not attack them, but agreed to Hanfu's request for an alliance. In the impression of the Hanfu, the Rangsu and Kixing tribes do not like war. Apart from war, they are willing to help in everything else. It is precisely because of the Rangsu and Kixing tribes that the Hanfu was able to gain a firm foothold in the Endless Territory. Otherwise, facing so many races of all sizes in the Endless Territory, the Hanfu would not be as peaceful as it is now. The combat power of all players in the Hanfu, including those at the first level and below, is nearly 20 million. However, because of the two strongest servers in planet, except for the second level players, most of the low level players are unwilling to join the conscription to resist. Are you kidding me? Why do you participate by yourself? Are you going to send us? You are crazy. You high level players don't take us with you when there are benefits. Now you think of us when you are in trouble? I treat you as a brother, and you treat me as an idiot! Exclamation mark. Looking at the less than 5 million Hanfu players in the campaign system, Yazima Yingdao felt desperate. This number is basically equal to the number of players on the other side, but the strength is not equal. Aside from the fact that all the players in the Chinese server are at level 3, even the European server has nearly 2 million level 3 players. How about I pretend to be offline and let other Korean server players take the blame? See Ui Yingjing, his real life friend standing next to him, and on good terms with him, whose game ID is please teach me how to behave, said worriedly, Brother Yingdao, have you thought of any way to resist the two insidious races from the European and Chinese servers? Yazima Yingdao shook his head. We can only drag it out and fight with them with all our strength. They are far away from our main city from the East China Sea. We have to use our lives to buy time and force them to go back and forth. Maybe in the end they will choose to give up attacking Huangxing City. Cui Yingjing, we can't delay it. We only have 5 million second level players here. The number of opponents is the same as ours, and their combat power is stronger than ours. And do you think they will be willing to leave without getting any advantage after traveling through mountains and rivers to come here? Yazima Yingdao said with a dark face. At this time, we should unite all the Korean players to resist together and let them feel the unity of our Korean server. I didn't expect that group of players to be so ignorant. They even said they wanted to surpass the European server and catch up with the Chinese server. Wishful thinking. Cui Yingjing glanced at Yazima Yingdao. This guy is stingy in reality, but his values in the game are so fresh and refined. Have you forgotten that you have always prevented low-level players from participating in activities? Now that they ignore you, you turn around and blame them? How did you get on the Korean server to command in the first place? Yazima Yingdao found that his friend Cui Yingjing didn't say anything, and suddenly he had an idea. He smiled and said to Cui Yingjing, Yingjing, you have been with me for so long, you must have learned a lot, right? Cui Yingjing knew what this guy wanted to say when he heard him say that, but he could only answer respectfully, I have only learned the basics. I'm not as good as Yingdao brother. Yazima Yingdao smiled and said, you can't say that. I have always been the one who carried the banner in front and didn't give you a chance to perform. I can solve the current crisis, but I think I should give you more opportunities to practice so that you can grow up quickly. Cui Yingdao's heart was full of rage. Good guy, you speak better than singing. Don't you want to disgust me just because you know you can't beat me and are afraid of taking the blame? Damn it, I will definitely visit Auntie when you are not at home next time. Seeing Choi Young-kyung's bitter face, Ma Yingdao's tone suddenly became stern. Yingjing, do you think brother Yingdao is harming you? Choi Young-kyung hurriedly waved his hands. No, since brother Yingdao gave me this opportunity, I will definitely perform well. I won't let brother Yingdao down. Ma Yingdao laughed, and the next second he directly authorized the title of Battle Commander to Choi Young-kyung, and then said I have something to do, and immediately went offline. Choi Young-kyung could only helplessly open the map of the Endless Territory while thinking about countermeasures. This time, he must fight this battle beautifully. Then he would wait for an opportunity to completely snatch the title of commander. He was really fed up with this corrupt and incompetent commander. What Choi Young-kyung didn't know was that at this time, two figures were floating in the sky of the Endless Territory. The human race in this area really disappoints me. I thought Rangsu and Kixing could finally serve their old master after waiting for countless years. Given the habits of these human races, Rangsu and Kixing would rather remain silent than bow their heads. You were just saying that in anger. You haven't forgotten the commotion when the 4th Dragon Emperor was born, have you? That was the commotion that scared you and me. Do you really think Rangsu and Kixing can stay out of it? Or do you think the void and the abyss will let us, their mortal enemies, go? In addition to helping the human race rise, do we have any other choice? No mistakes, just read the content of one poem, one post, one book, and one forum. Rangsu and Kixing will only die faster if they depend on these humans. I will never. Wait a minute, that's in the south. Is it the human race? There are such a large number of humans? Are there other branches of the human race besides those in the Endless Territory? I see the shadow of the original human race in them. This is the glory that I, Rangsu, should pursue. If it is this group of humans, Kixing is willing to depend on them. These two creatures in the sky, who have been looking down on the human race, are the ancestors of the Rangsu and Kixing tribes who have been hiding from the world and not discovered by Hanfu. Rangsu tribe, Rangsu, Kixing tribe, Zhaoxing, the mortal enemies of the void and the abyss. Chapter 245, Cui Yingjing. After the players of the Chinese and European servers crossed the East China Sea region from the ship and stepped into the endless territory where the main city of the Korean server was located, the players of the three servers immediately received a collective system notification. The cross-server battle has begun. The Chinese and European servers are the attackers, and the Korean server is the defender. The attackers win by finding and rushing to the main city of the Korean server, Hwangsing City, within 3 hours, and killing the city lord of Hwangsing City. Note that the city lord of Hwangsing City is a temporary NPC with extremely high health and extremely strong defense. The defenders win by resisting the attacks of the Chinese and European servers within 3 hours. The winner can obtain resources. 1. Players who participate in the battle can gain a lot of experience. Players who have transferred to the third level can increase their current level by half of their experience, and players who have transferred to the second level can increase their level by 2 levels too. Players who participate in the battle can share half of the soul value in the main city of the losing server. This news is undoubtedly like a nuclear bomb thrown between the three servers and exploded instantly. Not only does it increase so much experience, but the winner will also share half of the soul value in the main city of the losing server. It is simply outrageous. In fact, this was also intentional by Bai Bing. If there were no Void and Abyss races, Bai Bing would not mind letting the servers develop normally, but the crisis was approaching, and Bai Bing had to speed up the running in between several servers. Because of the sudden announcement of the system, the low-level players of the Korean server who had previously ignored the campaign immediately applied for the campaign. Although they knew that the Korean server could not compete with the Chinese server and the European server, the 3-hour time limit seemed to give them hope. Moreover, if half of the soul value reserve of the main city was lost, the Korean server would go bankrupt instantly. Not to mention catching up with the European server. Even the Japanese server and the Southeast Asian server could bully the Korean server. Looking at the sharp increase in the number of Korean server participants in the campaign system, Cui Yungjing rarely smiled. Fortunately, at least he was not fighting alone. Compared with the sudden enthusiasm of the Korean server, the Chinese server and the European server seemed much calmer. As soon as the campaign announcement was released, the European server planned to let all the players in its server participate in the battle and let them teleport to the East China Sea region and then rush to the endless territory. But the dog officials seemed to need to balance the strength of the two warring parties and banned the European server from adding more people. The European server was speechless. The Chinese server didn't even think about adding people. What a joke. Even if we want to add more people, we can't. The journey is very long. Okay. We have to first teleport to the Iron Prison area, and then walk through the downhill ridge area to the East China Sea area, and then take a boat from the East China Sea area to the Endless Territory. This journey takes more than 3 hours. Liang Ting said to BG William, "This time you European servers are the main force. How about our Chinese servers assisting?" BG William nodded. "Okay, we have more people than you, and we are stronger than the Korean servers. As long as we find the main city of the Korean servers, Hwangsing City, we can just crush it." Liang Ting said, "I received feedback that the commander of the Korean servers is no longer the incompetent guy Bubble Dragon this time. You should pay attention." BG William didn't care. It doesn't matter. The strength gap is here. In the face of absolute advantage, all the monsters are empty. Liang Ting smiled and said, "You have learned Chinese idioms well. Hurry up. Tell me if you need help. The Chinese servers will support you unconditionally." This time it is about the soul value of the Chinese servers in a library. Liang Ting doesn't want to make any mistakes. After the two commanders communicated for a while, Liang Ting led the Chinese server players to divide into two armies of 400,000 and left on the left and right, while BG William commanded 4 million European server players to go directly to the approximate location of Hwangsing City. The third-class players in the front row of the European server found that there were really many creature races on the road. This was the 10th one, and he had already forgotten. The weakest of these creature races was only ordinary creature strength, and the strongest was only overlord level strength. Facing the powerful creatures of the human race in the European server, this group of creature races ran away. Are you kidding? Don't involve us in your own internal conflicts. You said before that you were the enemy of the human race, but it is obviously your own family matter. The environment here in the endless territory is so good. That's right, there are all kinds of creatures from low to high. If our Yunhei forest had these plans, we would be on par with the Chinese server now. In such a vast area with such rich resources, the Korean server is actually developing so slowly, it's really a waste. A good hand of cards is played badly. It's simply like the 18 Ahats calling and then winning. At this time, CUI Yingjing, leading twice the number of European server players and a wide range of level players from the Korean server, are preparing to face off with the European server. Even if they can't beat them, they will kill some of the European server players. With the advantage of teleportation, the Korean server can afford it. From afar, densely packed European players as small as ants appeared in CUI Yingjing's eyes, and he immediately gave orders in the command channel. All players summon their mounts, the front row go to the front, and turn on full status during the hedging, to avoid being killed instantly. The back row players don't need your output, just keep up with the front row and command the mounts, to collide with those bastards from the European server. Delay time as much as possible. After the hedging is over, all players keep an eye on the opponent's squishy output, ignore the opponent's front row players, and be sure to reduce the opponent's output profession as soon as possible. CUI Yingjing's orders seemed very reliable, and the Korean players who were skeptical about this new commander at the beginning felt at ease. It seems that this commander is more reliable than the previous one. Be more confident. Remove the word it seems. The previous idiot knows nothing. Anyone is more reliable than him. He is just the first one to try it on our server. I hope this new commander is more awesome. If he really commands us to win this battle, I will obey him in the future. Okay. I will listen to him this time. All the Korean players obeyed the order and got on their mounts. CUI Yingjing saw that the distance between the two servers was getting closer and closer and directly ordered everyone to charge. We can't wait for them to get close. Seeing the enemy rushing so aggressively, it is easy to be overwhelmed in momentum. Now rushing up is enough to buffer the speed. The number of Korean players is twice that of European servers. Putting aside the combat power, there is no reason to lose to them in momentum. The Korean players are obviously more passionate about this battle than before. After all, they all feel that this commander is really focused on the battle, and there is still hope. At this time, CUI Yingjing was still worried about one point, that is, where the Chinese server went. After the cross-server battle was opened, in order to prevent cheating, the cross-server friend system was directly closed by the system, and players between different servers could not send messages. Logically speaking, the Chinese server is the most difficult server in this battle, and they should not be seen on the front battlefield. Although they are not many in number this time, they are all third-level combat forces. In reality, after successfully passing the blame, Ma Yingdao immediately opened the live broadcast room to watch the battle between the two servers. When he saw the reward of the winning party, he was immediately glad that his choice was so correct. If he commanded this battle, that would definitely lose. His Majesty would definitely fall. Although CUI Yingjing is his friend, isn't a friend meant to be pitied. This is the tradition of my Republic of Korea. The younger generation should unconditionally obey the orders of the elders. This is to give him an opportunity to let him learn to grow. Ma Yingdao took out a bottle of drink from the refrigerator and a plate of fried chicken from the kitchen. He just opened the drink and took a sip. When he turned around and saw the picture in the live broadcast room, he immediately sprayed out the drink. Damn. Question mark? Chapter 246. Melting Snow Kixing. In the live broadcast room, Korean players were charging forward towards the European army, fearing that their mounts would be scared. They followed the new commander, CUI Yingjing, and took out a piece of cloth from their backpacks to cover their mount's eyes. Don't think about anything else, just rush forward. If you die, you die. If you are lucky enough to survive, the commander said. Focus on the opponent's squishy skin. Don't worry about the front row. European players found that the Korean players in front of them had changed their previous image of being wretched and tough, and dared to confront them head on. Did they want to die? Seeing that the Korean players didn't slow down at all, and that there were more people than them, and their momentum didn't weaken at all, the European players were a little shaken. When the Korean players and European players were a certain distance apart, CUI Yingjing asked the Korean players, to disperse and continue to charge on the command channel, surrounding the European players in an arc. Don't let the enemy not hit you, but only hit the players on your own server. At this time, no one on either server had the heart to complain or joke. They had already reached a consensus in terms of momentum, and regarded each other as a flood and a beast. A few seconds later, 8 million Korean players and 4 million European players collided directly. Countless players instantly turned into light spots and disappeared. Large numbers of Korean front row players fell down, and their mounts had returned to their own space before they could react. There were also a large number of casualties in the front row of the European server, and even a third level player was trampled to death by a large number of Korean players. The formation was directly broken up, and the healing professions in the back row were either killed or rushed out of the healing range. The Korean players sacrificed 1 million of the previous 8 million, and the remaining ones got off their mounts and rushed directly to the nearest squishy players. Even the healing players did not choose to heal, and smashed all the few attack skills on their skill bars. BG William had a heavy face in the back. What happened to the Korean server? Did they take banned drugs? Where is the referee? Exclamation mark. The battle that was thought to be very simple turned out to be a disaster in the first confrontation. What method did the new commander of the opposite side use to turn the effeminate Korean server into a macho man? This goes against the laws of physiology. Countless players from other servers who were watching the live broadcast were shocked by the transformation of the Korean server. Is this the Korean kimchi server I know? Did they put Viagra in their kimchi? Have we always overestimated the European server? I don't think they are strong either. What did you eat upstairs? You are so arrogant. The Japanese server commander Ichiro Nomoto's face was gloomy. Although he was reluctant to admit it, the momentum of the Korean server was indeed unmatched by the Japanese server. If it were him, he would never have the courage to fight against the European server, the second server. The new commander of the Korean server was a strong opponent. The Southeast Asian server commander, Softuang, was shocked. There has always been a consensus among Southeast Asian servers, that is, the Chinese server is first, the European server is second, and the Southeast Asian server is third. The Southeast Asian server, which is located in the Devil's area, has been fighting all year round, and has never been afraid of the two stubborn servers, the Korean server and the Japanese server. But seeing the current atmosphere of the Korean server, Softuang knew that he should correct his attitude and face this enemy. The Russian server commander, Yelisagrov, was secretly glad in his heart. He knew that there was an ambush by the Korean server in the Chiang area before. If it weren't for Lei Ming's help to the Russian server would not have won the battle in the Chiang area. The American server commander looked coldly. In reality, as one of the world's hegemons, Korea has always been his younger brother. Now that the Korean server is so fierce in the game, the American server can't lose the dignity of the big brother. After I stabilize the Manlang tribe and the Blood tribe, I must let all servers know who is the big brother. At first, the European server was startled by the Korean server's charge and was confused for a while. After all, the opponent had more people than us and was not inferior to us in momentum. But later, we found that the Korean server's combat power was actually very limited. BG William passed down orders one by one on the battle channel, and the European server stabilized the situation in a short period of time. After all, it is the second server, and it still has its heritage and pride. I'm intimidated by you Korean guys, so how can I go out and mess around? The third level players of the European server rushed to the front directly, ruthlessly waving their weapons in their hands, and fully unleashed their advantages in level, combat power, equipment, skills, attributes, etc., which made the Korean server overwhelmed. The equal advantage they had fought for at the beginning was instantly gone. The European server began a full-scale counterattack, and the Korean server felt extremely uncomfortable. The opponent had a large number of third-level combat power, which really could not be compensated by numbers. Both sides were not afraid of death, and the momentum advantage was gone. The Korean server can only delay time now. CUI Yingjing saw that the healing players of the European server had already stood in formation and continued to add blood to the output players. However, because the Korean server implemented the command, even the healing players participated in the fight, causing the Korean server players to fall in large numbers. If the players would not disappear after they died, the grassland would now be littered with corpses. Half an hour later, the fight between the two sides was over. There were more than 2 million players left in the European server, most of whom were 3rd level professionals. The 8 million players of different levels in the Korean server were all killed, successfully delaying the battle for half an hour, but the price was an hour of online cooling time. The remaining combat power of the European server would have no obstacles, and could do whatever they wanted in the endless territory. But CUI Yingjing was not panicked at all. After all, the endless territory was very large. In 1 hour, the European server would definitely not be able to attack Huangsing City. At the same time, the two armies of the Chinese server that were attacking Huangsing City by surprise had already rushed halfway, but both armies were stopped on the road by two different races of creatures. The first army led by Liangting looked at the Kixing tribe in front of them with a blank expression. The other party's clan leader was only at the level of a god. Once a fight broke out, the 400,000 third turn players behind him could melt them in an instant. Xingshu, the clan leader of the Kixing tribe, at the peak of the god. The second army led by He Yang was also intercepted by the tall and strong creatures of the Rangsu tribe. The 400,000 third turn players of the second army did not have any emotional fluctuations. After all, their strength was there. WuiKoiIFA.com. Jiaoming, the clan leader of the Rangsu tribe, at the peak of the god. The intentions of the two races were very clear, which was to stop the Huaxia people from attacking Huangsing City. Jiaoming stood alone in the middle of the two armies, and said to He Yang, "Humans, I hope you will withdraw your troops. The Rangsu tribe does not allow war to occur in the endless territory." He Yang yawned. He was not afraid of you in a one-on-one fight, not to mention that there was a group of poor eagles waiting to live in the Kyuhan Valley in the main city of the Korean server. He ignored the other party because He Yang conveyed the situation to the commander and also received a private message from the commander saying that they also encountered obstacles and asked him to wait for news. Facing the same words of crossing Shu, Liangting smiled and asked, "Excuse me, chief of the Kixing tribe, in what capacity do you ask us humans? If you are the law enforcer of the endless territory, you can't beat us. If you are an ally of the human race, then I'm sorry, we are also human race, and this is our internal affairs. You are not going to interfere in the internal affairs of other races?" Crossing Shu suddenly didn't know how to answer. The Kixing and Rangsu tribes have always used actions to prevent wars in the endless territory, but to say in what capacity, the two tribes really didn't think about it, and no other race would ask such a question. Yes, what right do we have to ask others for anything? Liangting smiled at the other party's silence. Surprised, right? Is it that no living being communicates with you in a dialectical way? Are you doubting your life? Chapter 247, The Ancestors of the Two Clans. Crossing Shu said with a serious face, "There have been constant minor frictions in the endless territory for countless years, but war is never allowed. This is for the sake of peace and stability in the region." Liangting smiled. "According to you, the Kixing tribe, are talking to me as the rulers of the endless territory?" Crossing Shu was stunned again. I never said that." Liangting asked back, "Then I'm surprised. First, my human race has not taken action against other races in the endless territory. Second, this is our internal affairs. How can you be qualified or courageous to intervene?" Liangting asked while muttering, "What on earth has the Korean server developed in such a long time? There are two such troublesome allies in their own region. If it were the Chinese server, they would probably have been thrown into the sea to swim naked." Crossing Shu was silent for a while and said, "This is not the wish of the Kixing clan alone, but the common idea of all creatures in the entire endless territory." Liangting restrained her smile. "In that case, the Kixing clan can represent the entire endless territory, but in my impression, the rulers of the endless territory are the human race. Coincidentally, we are also human. You'd better think it over before you answer." Crossing Shu's aura at the peak of the divine realm surged. No matter what, Kixing cannot tolerate a large-scale war breaking out in the endless territory. Liangting sighed, found Woohoo, He Yang, in the friend list, and sent a private message. "I'm ready to take action here, so stop talking nonsense." He Yang replied, "We've already started. I'm in a one-on-one duel with the opposing clan leader. The peak of the divine realm is indeed tricky. Let's not talk about it for now. I'm going to get busy." Liang Ting. What the hell, you are so efficient. He raised his head and asked Kixing gloomily, "I'll say it one last time, get out of the way, or die." Xingqiu was a peak spirit and thought that his burst of momentum could intimidate the human race, but he didn't expect that the human race was even tougher than him. Hundreds of thousands of Kixing creatures behind him started to march towards the 400,000 troops of the Chinese server at the same time. Liang Ting. Very good. In this case, there is no need for the Kixing tribe to survive in the endless territory. 400,000 third level players of the Chinese server set out directly to rush towards the Kixing tribe army. Xingqiu didn't expect that the human race would actually dare to take action. He immediately dodged and rushed towards Liang Ting. This human creature should be the general of the human race, so he killed her directly. The human race will naturally retreat. Seeing the Kixing spirit attacking her, Liang Ting was unmoved. A shield star profession appeared in front of Liang Ting and raised his shield to block Xingqiu's heavy punch. The shield star's blood was directly reduced by half. Many third level players around him attacked Xingqiu at the same time. Seeing that his heavy punch was easily blocked, he was surprised to look at the grinning human race under his crotch. Although Xingqiu is a peak god, the Chinese server already looks down on this level of war. A peak god, this realm has long been out of fashion. I have fought in battles at the peak of Shengming. How can you, a leader of a god, have the courage? Question mark? Feeling a strong threat, Xingqiu quickly withdrew and dodged various skills to retreat, but despite this, he was still injured. Liang Ting said mercilessly, "Although the Korean server has always been disgusting, it is the human race after all. I will not allow other rebellious races in the human race's territory. The Kixing tribe has no need to stay in the endless territory." Xingqiu was extremely shocked. This group of human races were too tacit and good at fighting. Not only did they see through his attack, but the Xingqiu creatures around him were also completely suppressed by the human race. Unlike the human race in the endless territory, this group of human race creatures that he had never seen before did not care about their own lives at all. They were simply exchanging their lives for their own. Among the entire Kixing clan, only Xingqiu is more troublesome. Other Kixing creatures cannot pose a threat to the Chinese server. Liang Ting did not intend to delay any further and directly ordered, "Don't waste time, ignore Xingqiu, kill all the Kixing people." Xingqiu knew that the human race was not joking, and he immediately became anxious and shouted to Liang Ting, "Wait a minute." The Chinese server players present completely ignored Xingqiu. "Wait for your sister. The Dragon King of the East China Sea has waited for you, and you are waiting too. Who do you think you are? I hate double standard dogs the most. They think we are easy to bully, but when they find out they can't beat us, they wait a little longer. I'm waiting for your grandma, a geoduck. The fight has already started. Why are you waiting? Do you know that once the war starts, there will be a lot of gold? You've delayed us for so long, and you still wait a little longer? I'll collect your bodies." Not only did the players on the Chinese server hate this group of self-righteous races, but even the players on the bullying server who watched the live broadcast were extremely disgusted with the two races of Rangsu and Kixing. They were all questioning how the Korean server negotiated with the local allied races, and how they were so laissez-faire towards such disgusting allied races. Xingqiu found that the human race showed no signs of stopping, and it was unrealistic to ask the Kixing people to withdraw. They were already fighting each other, and if they withdrew now, there would definitely be heavy casualties. Just when Xingqiu was extremely corrupt, a figure suddenly fell from the sky and appeared beside Liang Ting. Zhaoxing, Kixing clan, early stage of Shengming. At the same time, when He Yang was beating up the snow melting clan, a creature also appeared silently beside him. Ranzu, snow melting clan, early stage of Shengming. Liang Ting was speechless when she saw the creature. They really beat the younger one to the older one, and it was in the early stage of Shengming. This was a difficult situation. Liang Ting and Zhao Crossing looked at each other calmly, without any intention of asking the players to stop. Zhao Crossing saw that the human race was not panicked at all, and said, "Human race, the Kixing clan did not intend to make enemies with the human race. No mistake. 1 post, 1 content, 1619, 1 book, 1 bar. Liang Ting raised her hand to ask the players in the Chinese server to stop and sent a private message to the other battlefield to temporarily cease the fighting. Xingqiu was surprised when he saw the newcomer, ancestor. Zhao Xing ignored Xingqiu and continued to say to Liang Ting, I'm surprised that the human race actually has a branch like you, but since you are all human, why are you fighting each other? Liang Ting asked expressionlessly, so, you are here to stop us too? He Yang asked the same question to Rangsu. Zhao Xing and Rangsu gave the same answer and both smiled. No, Xing, Rangsu, has been an ally of the human race for countless years, but he just doesn't want the human race to kill each other. Liang Ting raised her eyes. Ally? Then she looked at Xingqiu and smiled. I can't tell. I thought we were enemies at first. Zhao Xing glanced at the Xing tribe and explained, I have retired from the world many years ago, and the current Xing tribe members don't know of my existence. Liang Ting said in her heart, oh, and lied without blinking. The double standard creature just now called you ancestor, but Liang Ting didn't expose him, but smiled without question. Get out of the way. Zhao Crossing was slightly angry. He was in the Saint Ming realm, but this group of humans didn't give him any face at all. Do you humans know that there are 2 powerful enemies in the world of living beings? Liang Ting smiled and said, you are talking about the 2 worlds of the void and the abyss. Zhao Crossing was surprised. Since you know, why are you still killing each other? Shouldn't we fight together against the upcoming enemies? Liang Ting looked at the time and found that the cross-server battle had passed for an hour. She rushed for half an hour and was blocked by this group of crazy races for half an hour. The damn official really makes trouble for our Chinese server everywhere. Don't waste time, otherwise the role of attracting firepower on the front battlefield of the European server will be meaningless. Chapter 248, Ring Star City. Although the European server can handle the Korean server alone, Liang Ting still hopes that the Chinese server can participate in order to be sure of success. Liang Ting felt disgusted by this annoying creature in front of her. Okay, let's stop talking nonsense. Are you going to give in or not? Liang Ting asked coldly. Zhao Crossing was also annoyed by the human race in front of him. Why are these humans so stubborn? They have nothing to do with the human character in this area. They are too domineering. With my early stage of Shengming, I'm determined to stop you. You can't get through. Zhao Crossing replied toughly. Liang Ting stared at Zhao Xing and suddenly laughed. She opened the friend interface and found her cross-server friend Vegeta William, who was driving a tank. We have encountered 2 races with early holy creatures blocking us. We can't get to Huangxing City. The next battle depends on you. We will stop them at all costs. When you go to Huangxing City, don't get close to the 2 coordinates I sent you. Then she found Woohoo, He Yang, and said, fight to the death with the opponent at all costs. After that, she spoke on the battle channel. Everyone, we have been running all day today and everyone is tired. We will try to deliver all at once and log off early to eat. From now on, we will play on the European server. The players of the Chinese server on the battle channel flooded the screen with messages. Destroy it, quickly. I'm also impressed by encountering such a rogue race. The last time I was so speechless was last time. What a bunch of idiots. And the human allies. The Korean server is really a waste. They were ridden and shit on by these guys. Zhao Crossing saw the human race in front of him standing still, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. In the face of absolute strength, even the human race could only retreat. However, the next second Zhao Crossing saw Liang Ting's smiling expression, and the hundreds of thousands of human races present all rushed towards the Xing tribe, not afraid of their strength in the realm of Shengming. Even after living for countless years, Zhao Crossing could not understand the human race's behavior of seeking death in front of him. How dare they? Question mark? Liang Ting's voice came over. As an ally of the human race, what are you going to do? Are you going to kill all your so-called allies? On the other side, BG William was stunned when he saw the message sent by the Chinese server commander. The Korean server actually has such a foundation? Fortunately, there is a Chinese server to help, otherwise this battle would have been lost just facing these 2 races. The meaning expressed by the Chinese server is very clear. telling himself that the next attack on Huangsing City will depend on the European server. Looking at the remaining more than 2 million European server 3rd level players in the campaign system, it is a headache. As the battle time became shorter and shorter, with only 1 hour left, the fight between the Huangsha server and the Rangsu Kixing clan was coming to an end. The two Huangsha server armies of 400,000 each had less than 100,000 soldiers left, and Rangsu Kixing was even worse. Facing the human race's rush to go offline and die, the number of the race was less than 30%. Rangsu and Zhaoxing both called a halt to the human race. This kind of loss was really unacceptable. Even if they were in the realm of Shengming, they could kill thousands of human beings in one attack, but the human race in front of them had already fought with their own race, and there was no unscrupulous large-scale map artillery. Moreover, the human race completely ignored their attacks, and they only had the ordinary combat power of Rangsu Kixing in their rise. At this time in Huangsing City, the online cooling of the Korean server had been completed, and a large number of Korean server players collectively returned to the main city to resist the strongest attack of the European server. However, Cui Yingjing was not thinking about the European server, but the Huangsha server. Because there was no trace of the Huangsha server before, Cui Yingjing sent many assassin players to disperse and find the location of the offline server. In the end, he did find it, but the feedback he got made him, the temporary Korean server commander, very angry. The so-called allied race in his region actually has 2 beings in the Saint Ming realm, and the entire Korean server didn't even notice it. What on earth is the Korean server commander, Yazima Yingdao, doing? Now he actually lets an outside server teach the human race a lesson in his own region against the disobedient children of the Korean server. But now he can't think about so much. The Chinese server will remember this favor from the Korean server. After the battle is over, he will slowly deal with these 2 old shady races in the endless territory. More than 2 million third-turn players in the European server have seen the outline of the main city of the Korean server, Huangsing City, from afar. There is only less than an hour left in the battle. BG William doesn't want to waste time anymore. With this little time left, there is no conspiracy, so he can only face it head on. All the third-turn players in the European server restrained their arrogance in the second server. They were really shocked by the first wave of confrontation in the Korean server. The formation matching, skill connection, attribute medicine, etc. were all taken into consideration. When the frontline players of the European server arrived at the gate of Huangsing City, the Korean server players on the city wall did not need to listen to orders and decisively released all the long-range skills in the skill bar. The Malay players of the Korean server gathered near the city gate, waiting to block the gate immediately when it was broken. Because the defense value of the player's main city is proportional to the level of the server players, that is, the stronger the server, the higher the defense of the main city, and the weaker the server, the lower the defense of the main city. The defense of Huangsing City can only resist the 3rd level players of the European server for a short period of time. Both servers are well aware of this, so not only the Korean server is always prepared, but even the frontline players of the European server who are now being bombarded on the city wall have not activated the defensive state skills, and simply rely on the healing players in the back row to survive, so that they can directly break up the opponent's formation in full state the moment the city gate is broken. The beginning of the Huangsing City battle not only affects the hearts of the players of the European and Korean servers, but also affects the Chinese server and the Shengming early creatures, Rangsu and Zhaoxing. Feeling that the human race's main city was under attack, Rangsu and Zhaoxing were already angry, and they were thinking about whether to violate the oath of loyalty that Rangsu and Kixing had made to the human race. The number of living creatures in the 2 races had been drastically reduced, and the 2 creatures in the early stage of Shengming had made up their minds. We won't stop you. Let our people leave. Liang Ting laughed. You can almost fool the creatures in your tribe with these words. We humans have crippled you. If you let them go, you will turn around and destroy us. Zhao Crossing's face darkened after being exposed. Liang Ting continued to laugh. It's a fight to the death. So don't put on a show. We humans here have always planned to die with you. It's not a loss to have so many of you accompany us. The same answer came out of He Yang's mouth to disgust Rangsu. Zhao Crossing and Rangsu gritted their teeth. The armies of both sides of the Chinese army had less than 50,000 combat forces left. They all knew that what the human race said was not false. They really planned to wipe out Rangsu and Kixing completely. Zhao Crossing finally struggled. Since you humans have torn your faces apart, I will definitely wipe out the human city-states in this area afterwards. Rangsu and Kixing are now enemies of the human race. After hearing Zhao Crossing's words, the remaining Chinese server players were stunned, and the next second they laughed like pigs. Go away, do what you say. Don't go back on your words. A liar should swallow 1,000 needles. You write a report. I'll approve the note. If you are injured or killed, I will give you a death pension. Liang Ting was also amused by Zhao Crossing's words. At this time, several similar contents were suddenly sent out in the World Channel. After seeing them, some Chinese server players began to discuss them heatedly. Liang Ting immediately sent a message on the World Channel, and then looked at Zhao Crossing with relief. Well, the time is almost up, and the Chinese server has tried its best. Chapter 249, UIAO Professional Debut. It took the European players 10 minutes to break through the 3 gates of Huangsing City. The European players, who were already thirsty, turned on their full status and rushed into the crowd of Korean players, instantly breaking up the formation that had been prepared for a long time. BG William kept issuing orders on the battle channel. Shield Star and Akala Profession stabilize the Korean formation. Holy Healer and Natal Master Profession should not save mana. Heal to death. The rest of the Malay professions immediately go up to the city wall and kill the Korean players on it to occupy the highest position. Ranged professions, just bomb me. The Korean players who were originally full of momentum suddenly felt the momentum of the European players who were getting serious, and they felt the pressure exploded. Cui Yingjing gritted his teeth and encouraged morale on the World Channel as he watched the battle time disappear bit by bit, and BG William also noticed that the battle time was disappearing and was equally anxious. The commanders on both sides felt that the time was very mysterious. At this moment, BG William received a private message from the Chinese commander. The content on it made him feel overjoyed, but the avatar in the friend list was grey, proving that the Chinese commander had died. The content of the private message gave BG William a boost of confidence. Liang Ting's private message roughly expressed that among the 200,000 third turn mage players who had previously left the army, nearly 10,000 succeeded. Subsequently, countless third turn mage players from the Chinese server are heading to the Dragon Palace area of the East China Sea to transfer. It must be said that only less than 10,000 of the 200,000 players succeeded in transferring, and the difficulty can be imagined. However, the gap between the 4th turn and 3rd turn professions is also outrageous. Normal 3rd turn players can fight overlord creatures alone, but 4th turn players can face early stage creatures of gods without losing. If they are like the gods on the battle power list, with better equipment, they can even fight against late stage gods head on. The 4th turn profession UIAO given by the official data is a universal profession, which is not as good as the 3 gods who transferred to the Chinese server before, but it is also a 4th turn after all. 10,000 players who can compete with early stage gods support the European server. Even if the commander is a retard, they can still fight. Before Liang Ting was killed, she asked the successfully transferred UIAO profession on the World Channel to rush to the Endless Territory to support the European server immediately, and received support from all members. After all, they also wanted to know how strong their newly transferred profession was, and the battle was the best testing ground. In the last half hour of the battle, the European server players had successfully advanced to the middle city of Huangsing City. As they got closer to the inner city, it became more difficult for the European server players to advance, because in the outer city, the Korean server players' defense was scattered and easy to be broken. Now in the middle city, it was convenient for Korean server players to support. Just when Cui Yingjing saw hope, the sky in the south of the Endless Territory suddenly darkened, and at the same time it quickly approached the direction of Huangsing City. BG William knew that it was the 4th transfer player support from the Chinese server, but the distance was very far, and it would take a lot of time to arrive. You know, the Endless Territory is very large, but as the dark clouds got closer and closer, BG William was stunned. This speed was too fast. For the first time, the 4th level UIAO players in the Chinese server felt the abnormal speed of the divine realm, especially with the full speed of the mount. The journey that originally took an hour for the 3rd level now only takes 10 minutes. And most importantly, the 4th level players can have the ability to fly for a short time. Although it is only a few minutes, flying is the magical skill that players dream of. The dark clouds in the sky gradually covered Huangsing City. Just when the Korean server players were confused, it suddenly rained heavily in the sky, and voices came from the sky. Rain blade. Combo skill. Rain flood. Combo skill. Rain tornado. Rain body. Rain blade. 4th level UIAO skill. Can use rain to turn into a blade to attack. Rain body. 4th level rain glory skill. Can transform into a rain clone with only 1/3 of the combat power of the original body. Rain man. 4th level rain glory combination skill. Requires 100 rain glory professions to perform at the same time and can use rain to change the environment. Rain tornado. 4th level rain glory combination skill. Requires 100 rain glory professions to perform at the same time and can summon rain tornadoes in the rain environment for large scale attacks. As the sound fell, countless raindrops directly attacked the surrounding Korean players. The damage could be described as bullying, and the tornadoes formed by dozens of rain swept the Korean players in Huangsing City directly into the sky, allowing them to experience the joy of bungee jumping. The European players were stunned and felt the impact brought by the scene. Is this a movement that players can make? Exclamation mark. No. I will upgrade the ship when I go back, and I will borrow money to get this profession. The players on other servers in the live broadcast room were also sluggish. There is such a big difference between the 3rd and 4th level professions? Exclamation mark. Are you being unreasonable? Question mark. Originally, the Chinese and European servers had already reached the 3rd level, so we still had hope to catch up. Now you have directly created such a heaven-defying 4th level profession. Aren't you afraid that we will quit the game? Exclamation mark. Unlike the shock of other servers, there was a cry of grief in the Chinese server. Woohoo, my great mage profession is taking off. Are you kidding me? Why can only mages reach the 4th level? Don't you treat us assassins as human beings? I originally thought that assassins were sewer professions, but now even a mage can kill my front row in seconds, destroy the world. Yesterday, I just stopped my girlfriend from playing the mage profession and asked her to choose a healing profession. Today, this happened. She wants to break up with me now. Can I report it to the damn officials? 10 minutes after the 4th level of the UIAO profession of the Chinese server entered the field, there were not many Korean server players who could enter Huangsing City. Just when the European server was secretly happy and the Korean server was disappointed, the system suddenly issued an announcement. The cross-server battle is over. Because a profession that destroys the balance of the battle participated in the battle, this cross-server battle will not be a winner. Chinese server? A perfect song, a perfect content. Read it in the 6 to 9 book forum. European server? Korean server? Fuck. You are using a bug here, you bastard official. Why doesn't it count? I won with my strength. No, you bastard official. Please explain. The Chinese server is cheating, but our European server is not. Bastard official. No, long live the official. Looking at the confused players of the Chinese and European servers, CUI Yingjing had mixed feelings. Although he had saved the assets and dignity of the Korean server, he was indeed crushed by the opponent in terms of strength. The European server could beat the Korean server in an away game, not to mention the Chinese server, which was cheating. As the battle ended, the 3 servers stopped fighting. CUI Yingjing walked towards the direction of Bedge William, and the commanders of the 2 servers looked at each other. CUI Yingjing, I have heard of you for a long time, Mr. Vegeta. My ID is please teach me how to be a human being. Veggie William smiled and said, what a crazy name. Are you the commander of the Korean server this time? CUI Yingjing nodded. Veggie William stretched out his hand and shook hands with CUI Yingjing. Your command really surprised me. We, the European server, suffered a lot in the first battle with you. CUI Yingjing responded modestly, it was just luck. Under normal circumstances, the Korean server would have lost, but we didn't expect that two rebellious races would have appeared in our region. Veggie William smiled and said, let's talk about this after the commander of the Chinese server comes online. It's almost an hour. Chapter 250. First tripartite meeting. After Liang Ting came online, she saw the message from the European server commander and headed to Huangsing City. She looked at the arrogant Korean server players and the depressed Chinese server and European server players around her, and smiled without saying anything. Cui Yingjing shook hands with Liang Ting and said modestly, Chinese server commander, I have heard of your great name for a long time. This time I finally get to talk to you. Before Liang Ting came online, she also learned about the battle between the Korean server and the European server on the forum. Hello, this battle of the Korean server is really eye-opening. Seeing the two strongest server commanders so affirmative of the temporary commander of their own server, the Korean server players, whether online or watching the live broadcast, were very proud. This kind of treatment was the first time. You know what? Our Korean server's commander is really good this time. Even when facing the attack from the European server, we can fight back and forth. I only now know how great it is to have a good commander. You don't have to think about it at all when fighting. Indeed, I was really nervous when fighting in the battle before. If it weren't for the dignity of the server, I didn't want to participate. I think we should let this big guy be the commander of our server in the future. It must be said that Cui Yingjing has won the respect of all servers this time. A wonderful battle has completely reversed the cowardly and stubborn image of the Korean server. Liang Ting, Beg William, and Cui Yingjing came to the meeting room in the inner city of Huangsing City to greet each other. Several Korean server players insisted on entering together and threatened to record the process, saying that this was a historic moment for the Korean server and must be watched by all Korean server players. The three knew that these words were just polite words. In fact, these players were spies between different servers, but it didn't matter. They had already added friends, and other things could be discussed privately. The great players of all servers watched the first three-party meeting of Planet. After a few polite words, a figure walked in from outside the meeting room. Cui Yingjing's face calmed down when he saw the person. Yazima Yingdao smiled and said, the commanders of the two servers have come to the Korean server. It's a great honor for us. Liang Ting and BG William looked at each other. Liang Ting smiled and asked directly, who are you? BG William shook his head, I don't know. I haven't seen you. Korean server commander, are all the players in your Korean server so rude? Any player can come in during the meeting? Liang Ting and BG William knew who the person was, but they didn't think much of him. After hearing what the two commanders said, Cui Yingjing knew that they were siding with him. Yazima Yingdao's face darkened after hearing this, but he still held back and did not get angry. You two are really forgetful. In the previous battle with the Yinling tribe, I was the commander of the Korean server and fought with you. Liang Ting showed a surprised expression. Oh, so there are two commanders in the Korean server? I always thought that there was only one commander in a server. It seems that we in the Chinese server don't know enough about the Korean server. Yazima Yingdao pulled out a chair and sat down. There is indeed only one commander in the Korean server. Originally, I was the commander of this cross-server battle, but because I had something urgent to deal with, the commander was temporarily let my junior take over. Cui Yingjing smiled and said nothing. Liang Ting showed an expression of seeing so. No wonder. I was wondering why the Korean server suddenly had such a high level in this battle. It turns out that the commander was temporarily changed. Becky William continued, yeah, you know what, this time the Korean server really made us look at it with new eyes. I think the commander of the Korean server in this battle can be the official commander of the Korean server in the future. Yazima Yingdao is not a fool. When it comes to this, he naturally knows what he means. He responded indifferently, don't worry about the Korean server. In the future, there will be no one else to command the Korean server except me. If you two have nothing else to do, you can go back. Liang Ting smiled and said, don't be funny. You are the only one who is in charge, but you deserted the battlefield. Your strength is mediocre, and your command is poor. I talk to you to give you face. I sit when I want to sit, and leave when I want to leave. What's it to you? Yazima Yingdao was angry. This is the territory of the Korean server. I can kill you at any time. You'd better be polite when you speak. Liang Ting leaned back in the chair and crossed her legs. Oh, really? Then you let your Korean players kill me. I want to see if there is anyone who will listen to your orders. Yazima Yingdao slammed the table and stood up. Beji William also stood up slowly, smiling but murderous. The meaning is self-evident. Just to tell you that what the Chinese server commander said, the European server also means the same. Yazima Yingdao was about to call people, but suddenly saw the content of the world channel denouncing him. Fuck, how can this idiot be so shameless? And he has the nerve to come out and show his presence? Damn, if it weren't for this idiot serving as the Korean server commander, would our Korean server have developed so slowly before? This person has no shame at all, right? After losing to China, he lost to the European server. After losing to the European server, he lost to the Japanese server. After losing to the Japanese server, he lost to the Southeast Asian server, and next he will lose to the Russian server and the American server. Why do you say so familiar things above? After reading the content of the world channel, Ma Yingdao gritted his teeth and said to Cui Yingjing, Yingjing, let's go. Liang Ting and BG William looked at the clown in front of them with a smile. Cui Yingjing said, Brother Yingdao, I think if we leave like this, other servers will think that our Korean server is impolite. Our Korean server is a country that pays attention to etiquette. No mistakes. One song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. Liang Ting muttered. Korean server still has etiquette, don't they all learn from us Chinese? BG William obviously heard Liang Ting's muttering and sat down with a smile. Ma Yingdao didn't expect that the junior who always obeyed him would dare to openly disobey his orders. He was surprised for a moment. Liang Ting continued to use his venomous eloquence. No, sir, you are not going to use your ancient feudal system, are you? Do you really think that the succession will be hereditary? The King dynasty has died, my brother. If you don't have the strength, just get out. Ma Yingdao was so angry that he couldn't speak and finally gritted his teeth and said something cruel and turned away. Liang Ting said, okay, you will be the commander of the Korean server from now on. Congratulations. Cui Yingjing was secretly happy in his heart, but still looked humble on his face. I can't guarantee it yet. I still have a lot to learn. Liang Ting said, hypocrisy. It's just a game. Don't do the harem thing, okay? BG William smiled and said, please bear with me. The Chinese server has been annoyed by the Rangsu and Kixing tribes in your endless territory this time. Liang Ting continued, I'm just wondering, there are two such disgusting races in your area, didn't you notice it before? Cui Yingjing saw that both of them had straightforward personalities, and he didn't say anything politely. To be honest, I really didn't notice it. Although neither of them has done anything to harm the human race for such a long time, we never expected the existence of two creatures in the saintly realm. BG William asked, what are you going to do on the Korean server? Cui Yingjing shook his head. No matter what we do, it's not right for us to beat them up, and with our current strength in the Korean server, we are no match for those two creatures. Liang Ting waved her hands. Don't bother with the creatures of these two races. They were basically exterminated by our Chinese server. Except for the two older mortals Rangsu and Zhaoxing, even their clan leaders were exterminated by us. BG William, Cui Yingjing, and players from other servers watching the live broadcast. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.